Hello! Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome. I'm Traverse JP, and this is the Academic Foxhole. And I'm plugging in my PS4 controller so that the battery, I mean, it still has battery in it, but it's just not full. And I thought, might as well just do. Anyway, my point is, we're playing the PS4 today. And we are playing The Outer Worlds. And I'm plugging in my controller. Haha. Oh, I didn't even want to be here yet. Sorry, I wanted to be here. I didn't want you to see that we were playing the Outer Worlds so early. Like, you've got to do the reveal. Ah, man, just messed up the reveal. I pressed the wrong button. It's fine. Say, hey, how are you? Also, I want my chat to be not at this side of my monitor, but on this side of my monitor. There we go. Hi. Hi, how are you? So, it has been a little bit of a time since I've been here. Jujube, Roller 300 notes that both Jujubes and Juicy Fruits work with Starbeam chocolate milk. Oh, Starbeam chocolate milk is so good. Also, so is Tabasco sauce. Tabasco sauce is the best. Hi. I have some things. And also, I also have Pez. Also, wasn't that such a great episode of The Gamblers last night? I had such a good time. I got to enjoy myself so much. It was so fun. I've got the best players, and I don't know what kind of shenanigans and drama will happen next week. These are all things I wanted to share. I also have lemonade. I'm going to read chat. Early review? How scandalous. Josh, you're such a great artist. That's all. Good morning. Good morning. Josh and Prax and Rissa, Chromatic, Volpez, Roller, Rissa. I said Rissa. Volpez. I said Volpez. Yep. Good morning. How are you all? Chromatic. Hey, how are you? So many punches weren't pulled. Oh, so many punches weren't pulled, but I just feel like we're just at the beginning of that situation. Do you know what I mean? We're just at the beginning of that situation. And people, characters know things about each other. There's some problems. I have players who DM me questions off screen, privately, because it's, PM. And they ask me questions. Questions like, how do you remove a planet from someone? Or questions like, is there a way for me to secretly translate everything that everybody's saying right now? Just a lot of different questions. And I just feel like it's gonna go down. It's gonna be so good. Oh no! I'm just telling you that, the one thing that I know that you don't know yet is because I have players DMing me secret things in private. Is I just know there's so much drama to be and I'm just like, oh, where's my popcorn? It's going to the drama's just gonna oh oh it's gonna be so good, and I'm just waiting for all of it to explode. Do you know what I mean? I have a banquet for them to attend. They'll get there, although they won't. I don't know. It's not my business. It's just yeah. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. Bubba says, no, it actually eats the Pez. What? Oh. Josh says hi to Prax and Rissa being one of my most amazing mods, along with Jer. Let's see. Chicken Boy Pez. Oh, Pez. I'm waiting for the monologue tokens to be added to Traveler. Really, there should be monologue tokens in every single game. Don't you think? They're the best. I love them. Oh, that reminds me, says Prax. I have to send you a message about game stuff. Sure. I imagine it's about the 11th of November. Remember. Let's see. Chromatic says, "I'm episode 3, and this is fast becoming a reality TV show like Last One Spaced." Uh, well, the thing is, here's the thing that I know, and that some of the other players don't know, is there has been stuff going on, feelings and plots for some time. It just haven't manifested yet. But Chromatic, this is what I'm gonna say. Give you no spoilers. Sometimes the characters don't talk to each other. Sometimes they do. And sometimes they should have talked to each other earlier. But sometimes they didn't. Uh-huh. How is Crash Jones going to get out of this predicament? That's a very good question. It's a very good question. Let's see. Vulpes asks, okay, Trooper, merch idea. Just hear me out. A water bottle with the Tabasco sauce label. Vulpes, okay, hold on. Vulpes, I'm going to copy this link address. I'm gonna pull up a tab because I don't know if you know this about me, but tabs are life. Ooh, that is a good water bottle. Ooh, and we don't have a water bottle. And Tablasto, the Tablasto label that I made would work really well right there. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Just gonna keep that tab up. I'm gonna go give it a look-see. Just give it a look-see, Lopez. Give it a look-see. Rissa's seriously worried about this Val situation. Rissa, why would you be worried about Val? I mean,
We're in the money.
I don't know why you'd be worried about Val, Rissa. Doesn't seem like there are any problems to me. Oh, oh, oh. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I laugh because my players are the best players, just the best players. Oh, I don't know. I don't even know. Brack says, look, I'm sorry. We had game last night, and I'm very excited about all the shenanigans that happened because I don't know if you know this, but there have definitely been shenanigans. Like, not even like one shenanigan, but like two shenanigans. It's like not, yeah, there's like multiple. Anyway, Prax says, actually, the Never Limit thing is a separate thing that I also have to remember to send you information about, but I was talking about for Monday. Ah, oh, ooh, I'm ready for it. Um, send me words. Yeah, let me know. Let me know what I can do. Oh, sorry. I'm giddy. Chromatic's like, yep, that's about the not talking with each other. Roller says, will Crash Jones and Millie Verloc acquire some private time? Okay, wait. So we're talking about whether Millie and Crash will have private time, but like I have questions about all sorts of private time. The Harlock and Severance need to have conversations. Quint and Val need to have conversations. Okay, Severance and Tarek need to have conversations. Oh, Val and Tarek need to have more conversations, or maybe they don't. Actually, look, what I'm trying to tell you is everybody needs to have conversations with everybody. Also, Wesley just found out that 15% interest on 12,000 credits is 1,800 credits, and he only makes 2,000 credits a month. So there's no way he could pay the interest on that loan weekly because he just doesn't make that much money. But, so he's going to have a company. He's got to figure out what he's going to do. Anyhow, I'm reading chat. I'm gonna read chat. Atalika, I am here. Welcome in. Practice. Okay, but can I put out that swell are the most difficult to drink out of? Oh, the stainless steel water bottles are the most difficult to drink out of? Let's see, as opposed to, because I don't have my water bottle with me. I have like the bicycle water shop water bottles, but I don't have. Actually, no, I do have some stainless steel water bottles. I think I have them for random school purposes. Prax is like, it's right to be worried about Val. It's Greg. You mean we should be surprised that Trevor isn't a neighbor and supporter of shenanigans? Look, I'm just like enabler probably is what that is. I just hang out. I just note the shenanigans. That's all. Are we going to get a special Christmas episode where Val learns how to love? Maybe. I feel like Val feels a little abandoned, and I feel like that's just not going to go well. Rose like, all the ships. There's so many. There's so many ships on this ship. There's so many ships. Are we going to get a special Christmas episode? Only if it's a musical episode. I had an idea, and it's a bad one, but I just had an idea. I should write it down. Hold on. I'm going to write this down. Is there a way to do a musical episode organically? How do I keep my players surprised by it? Something like say, and then I'm just thinking Val, and you give love a bad name. Circle that as well. Okay, that's just my note that I need to write down. Because, oh wait, sorry, Christmas. There we go. I've taken my notes. I like to write down things. Hey, Hawkeye, how are you? Chromatic says, you should do post-episode shows where one of the characters dishes on the others. Only if I could do it reality style, where they go to the confessional. That would be amazing. I would love that. It's like, hey, it worked for the Muppets. Absolutely. Prax says, that design of a bottle is called a swell bottle, and it's not easy to drink out of. Ah, I see. I'm going to pull up the phrase swell bottle because I feel like swell stainless steel water bottle, swell bottle. I want like, well, I've pulled up, so now I have the word, and now I can just read things about them because I like that. Let's see. Heart-shaped escape pods. Oh, I see it in my face. Rissa says, I bet these players would be down for any of your bad ideas. Like I don't even have to give them bad ideas. I just have to give them, I just get to sit back. I did not make my popcorn. That was a mistake. Oh, Well, I mean, sometimes I can give them bad ideas, but like I didn't do it. You know what I mean? That's all I'm gonna say. Rocket would be all about it. Rocket would be all about it. Just ponder this. Uh, Doom scribblings, Doom. Terica singing Space Oddity. Ooh, hey, Krellin, how are you? We're talking about how to have a musical episode of The Gamblers. That's all. That's my idea, but in character. Oh, I see you. I see you, Chromatic. I see that idea. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh. 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 So many ideas. So many ideas. Krellin wants only one spoiler from last night. Are all Harlocks accounted for? Yes. 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 I wanted to say something I wanted to say something that's teasing and intriguing, but without being spoilery. So I want to say something like, yes, all of the Harlocks are accounted for. Yes. You just have to give them open mic time, says Vulpus. Yeah. Uh-huh. That's the Valentine's Day episode. But wait, on this show, it's always Valentine's Day, says Hawkeye. Ah, that is correct. Look, I've got psychedelic psionic drugs. This is fine. We're we're all Harlocks down here. I actually think that's true. I think that we are technically and officially all Harlocks. And Atomica, you donated bits, and I think you know what that means. I think you know what happens now. Here in this place, right now. You didn't think I would do it. You didn't think that I was bold enough. That I was just wild enough. But I am. I'm running out of like baby powder in this thing to make it look like it's cigarette smoking. I think I'm almost out of baby powder. Anyway, the point is, I'm being noir night right now. That's right. May not know, but at this point in time, I've got something to say. What I've got to say is, it's about money. See, right now, in honor and thanks of those bits, I'm gonna sing. And I'm gonna sing We're in the Money. I'm not gonna just sing it anyway, no. I'm gonna sing it like Ginger Rogers in the film Gold Diggers of 1933. Which means I'm gonna sing it in Pig Latin. Away and hey the anime. Away and hey the anime. Even at getting at weird ways to take gang way. Oh, away and hey the anime. Either Oscars or Odyssey. Oh, me and the 80 should pray who we are and who you are still me hungry. Oh, he weapon it really on sleigh. You weapon on sleigh who today. Hey, and when we see the alley or we look that there in the yeah. We're in the money. We're in the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get along. Yeah. I don't quite know which one that was, but it was just the one that was on my mind. Did I tell you I took a nap yesterday and I'm like well slept? Just for the record, just so you know. I'm a bit well slept, so I'm feeling good about it. Oops, all Harlocks. We're all all Harlocks go. Powdered sugar would taste better. Yeah. Krellin says, I threatened to destroy a planet from orbit last night. Did the Gamblers threaten to destroy a planet from orbit last night? Yes. Sort of. In their own way. Not all of them. You know, it's kind of hard to just maybe. Sort of. might look like it, but then maybe not. I feel like maybe some people thought they were threatening. You know, it's unclear. It's possible. There may have been a threat to destroy a planet from orbit. Maybe. You know, who can really say? Who can say? It's unclear. I'm gonna just get back to the comments. I'm a Harlock, you're a Harlock, he's a Harlock, she's a Harlock. Wouldn't you want to be a Harlock too? Be a Harlock. Yes. Uh, wait. How are we doing over here? Are we actually in a... Okay, good. I just saw a network error up there, but it doesn't look like I have a network error. I'm looking good over here. Mm-hmm. No drop frames. Everything looks good to me. All right, let me see. Uh, you said you only wanted one spoiler, says Rissa. Roller says, Harlock stocked with barrels. Harlock stocked with barrels. Lock, stock, and Harlock. Oh, wait. Sorry, give me a second. Lock, Stock, and Harlock is going to be the name of an episode. I don't know when yet. Lock, Stock, and Harlock. That, well, technically the Harlock. That is going to be the name of an episode title. When, I don't know, but nobody can let me forget that one because that is the best thing ever, and I'm just gonna... Okay, everybody, this is what our deal is. I just had a new idea. I would like a very punny title for each of the characters. We've got Lock, Stock, and the Harlock. Now I need one for Quint, for Val, for Terica, and one for Severance. And I'm just making the notes here, we also have Sue, Evan, Corrine, and Wesley in the background. But if you think of things, you tell me, and I'm going to write them down because this just needs... Well, we do have Dadmiral for Severance. Anyway, the point is, if you get more of them, tell me, and we will have them. That's all. When they happen. Good job, Mr. Waits. First time for everything, well slept. Now, they're like, I'm usually much better slept in the summer. Cross says, there was a stutter, but I stopped and started the stream, and it's all fine now. Okay, because I was like, what was that about? The Valentine's Day Massacre. Yep. Okay, that's another good one. This is why you are all here with me. The Valentine's Day Massacre. Yep. Okay, we've got two. Hey, Artie. Everything is going very well. We're having a good time. Quint, and you'll see it. I'm gonna write all these things down because I don't think you know, but we're gonna do this, and the players are not gonna know because they're not watching the stream right now. And then I'm gonna be very happy when we know what's gonna happen. No Lock, Stock, and 2 smoking Harlocks for after the banquet. With a Quint in her eye, Quint of Steel. Oh. With a Quint in her eye is good. Oh, these are... this is so good. This is so good. I adore you all. I just need you to know it. Hey, Max Ryder, we're making names. We're making episode titles for the Gamblers, but with player names and sort of punny spaces, like Lock, Stock, and the Harlock, the Valentine's Day Massacre, with a Quint in her eye. Quint, and you'll see it. Quint of Steel. Trying to get some good ones. Terica will be a challenge. It's true. It was a very Terica day. Oh. I'm writing it down. That's a thing I'm gonna do. Terica on the high seas. Okay, I need to know, why are you all the best? This is what I need to know. I need to know, why are you all the best? Because you are the best, and that's why I'm going to start playing the Outer Worlds. More or less. I mean, you know, theoretically, that's a thing that's going to happen. I can't confirm or deny. I cannot... Look, I can tell you we're going to start. I cannot tell you how far we're going to get, or whether that will be doing a lot of talking while the game is up, because I've never done that before, but we'll see. I need creepy headless horseman scenes. Ooh. Who doesn't like a good creepy headless horseman? We're putting. Getting his severance, says Carl. Oh, that's a good one. Mm-hmm. Mm. Um, I have the best battle buddies in the world. So much so, nobody knows. I love you all so much. And what I really love is that we're gonna surprise our players with this, one by one. And it's gonna be so good. Oh, oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my goodness. Uh Terraca tiles. Oh, wait, Terraca Firma. Jer. That's so good. Terraca Firma? Oh. Ah. And the thing that's great about all these punny titles is that they also really work with who the characters are and what's going on in the game. Like, I can just see it. Oh. Did you ever play Hackmaster or use the Kingdoms of Calamar for the third edition? I was looking at your shelf and wondering if anything I wrote was there. I don't have Hackmaster or the Kingdoms of Calamar, but I probably should. By the way, my shelf is not fully unpacked yet, but I did unpack like 3 more boxes of RPGs. I have 4 more to go, but I don't have that much shelf space. But I sus- but I just built 3 more bookshelves. They're over there, which means I can, if necessary, I can move some of my art books into the shelves I built over there if I need to get another, if I need a bit more RPG space. But Max, you have to know this. Please know. Do not judge me by my shelves right now. My shelves at this moment are not alphabetized. They're not organized yet. And I understand that is upsetting to me, but I will. Once I get all the books on the shelves, then I can alphabetize them. Well, my storage system is not exactly, it's not simply alphabetization. That would not work for RPGs. It's just, I mean, there's more than one vector when I organize my RPG shelves, but I do organize them. They're just not currently organized, but they will be. That's all. Start playing the Outer Worlds, right? The House of Taraka. Oh. Oh, the House of Taraka. So good. So good. I cannot handle this right now. It's so good. Oh, severancing all ties to the past. Oh, that is also real. Oh, uh, severancing. This is so good. Severancing all ties to the past. I need you to know that once I get off of the stream today, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a message to the players in the green room, and I'm going to say, hey players, chat gave me the best things, best presents for you all for the next few episodes. You'll find out what they are later, and then they'll be nervous, and I'm going to laugh because whatever it is, the presents are truly the best things ever. Oh, 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 I'm so excited. Okay. Whew. Tearing up that is a very grumpy pastel person. I know, they're very grumpy, a little bit violent. There's a whole blank wall back there. But it's actually not a wall, it's a set of windows. I have the shades down because I don't need people looking at me while I'm doing anything. But yeah, they're technically windows and not walls. It's terrible. Flip the shells, probably because they are a very pastel person. I organize by game system, but mine are alphabetized. So mine, it's by game system, by alphabetized game system is how I do it. When you were in the larger screen, I noticed GURPS and Total Trolls. Oh yeah, absolutely. We're playing the game, so I can't say there. But I've got, this is like again, this is not organized, right? And this is why you should not judge me. Don't judge me because I will organize this. I just have to. There's no point alphabetizing them right now when not all the books are on there. So I just have to finish unpacking the last 4 boxes. 4 or 7. 4. The last few boxes, and then putting them up so I can organize it. But there's D&D 4E. This is a mishmash over there. you cannot see the GURPS, which is, ooh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Pardon me. There, I shot a gun. Let's see, this is like a mishmash. So there's like Everway, Cult, Werewolf, Dungeon Crawl classics, Dragon Age, Kite and Crow. This is currently a mix of stuff. Then a bunch of D&D 4E, Burning Wheel, some GURPS right over there. Mask of Nyarlathotep, the prop box. I just got some really nice. You can't see them. So you know those like cubes, those cube boxes from IKEA. I have 2 of those to hold cards and dice. Invisible Sun, interesting mix of things, including the Dallas game. A bunch of Traveler, all of that over there. All of that is just Traveler now. I have a bunch of Traveler. There's a brand new Traveler book out, which I'm not going to buy yet until it's small craft, which I'm really interested in. But I'm not going to buy it until there's another book so I can save on shipping. Then there's like that's a bunch of RuneQuest, Polaris, more GURPS. Down there I've got some Call of Cthulhu, Achtung Cthulhu, Fate, random things, some more random games, because I've got some random games, everybody. Castle Falkenstein, Paleo Mythic, some D&D 5e, Tunnels and Trolls, Aqualade, Haunted West, Necrobiotic. Should run something in that. Unknown Armies, a bunch of that. Twilight 2000, Twilight 2000. Blade Runner, Lex Arcana. There's a bunch of stuff that's missing. It's but it's in those boxes. I just have to. Unpack those 4 boxes and hope that I have enough shelf space for it. I do. We'll deal with it. I'm going to tell you a thing later. Yes, you should open up a Word document and cut and paste these title ideas. Wait, are you saying that my handwriting is not going to be legible later? That is possible. I wonder if there's a way to save show. No, I just want to. If they don't have a chat log, which seems like a real missed opportunity. But that said, I am going to take your advice, and I'm going to open up a little note, and I'm going to copy in all of our text right here. Oh, hold on. Copy. Paste. Doesn't look pretty, but it's there. Okay, just gonna note that one. Okay, good. Let's see. You could have told us they were organized and we can't see them well enough to disagree. No, but here's the thing, Artie. Once they are organized, you'll be able to tell. You'll know, because it will be really obvious that they're organized when they become organized. Because it'll be glorious. I do like notepads, because notepads are there to like jot down that like big information you got. Max is like, certain context, I'm lazy. I'll cut and paste. Let's see. Chris, mine is by genre, then game system. I go by, I'll tell you in a second. Minor adjustment, Terra Firmica. Oh, Terra Firmica. I actually have it. I already copied and pasted it, but I'm going to write it down anyway, because I just think that's really good. Terra Firmica? Yeah, that's really good. That's really, really good. Oh, I like that. Terra Firmica. I'm so excited for the presents that you are all giving the players right now, and I will tell them that it all came from you. I see Thick's GURPS book on the right. Yes. I'm a minor librarian studies. I was the student head librarian in middle school, and then I was also librarian in high school and also in college. Everway. But I do judge you, Trooper. I judge you to be awesome. Oh, thank you, Artie Snack. I love the mass props box. Yes. The HPLSHS, the HP Lovecraft Historical Society, they make good stuff. If you don't know them, they make props, and they inspired me for some things I want to do for Kolos when we get to that point in time. I got the angled chest for Christmas last year. Amazing stuff. Aquilano, you got that? Nice. Yeah. Max, this is Max. I got into my bins of classic books this past week. Filled up the remaining shelf space. Have to figure out what to do with the rest of my books. Yeah, I'm going to have to... What I need to do is I have to go through my books and decide which books I'm going to... Not those. Those are my gaming books. Those are not going anywhere. But I have some fiction books probably, and maybe some non-fiction books that I don't need to keep. We'll see about that. But I really have to make sure, for real, that I don't need them, because if I can make sure for real I don't need them, then I can let some of them go. The chat does show up in VODs. This is true. But, you know. Let's see. Volpa says, speaking of RPGs, did you see that they are re-releasing The Big Black Cube by Monty Cook? I hadn't seen that, but somebody told me, but I actually have The Big Black Cube because I kickstarted it. So I have it. I just haven't been able to run it. And one of these days I'm gonna, look, we should talk. I have a lot of games I want to run, but there are things. Oh, hey, did you notice that there's like lightning in the background of this game? That's really interesting. I don't know if that's bad or not, but there's some lightning going on. Hey, kind of looks like there's a storm happening here in the game we're in right now, and I hadn't really thought about that. I hope it's... Hey, I'm going to read chat because that seems less distressing. Or you have to watch this first 40 minutes, but
Anyone got a smoke?
Yeah. Why not both? So, a cut and paste and open. Yes, suspenders and also belts. Finally, chill enough for a sweater. Oh, I love a good sweater. So, let's see. I got the wallet prop, and I'm going to run through the solo scenario of the dog walker on my own stream in a few weeks. Oh! There are a few places in the room that can be put on display. You know, I just lost my mouse wrist thing. I drop things. I don't actually drop them on purpose, but I scooch them off my desk. That's what happens. So, I'm going to just... I have not seen the dog walker, and I'm going to just pull up a... I'm going to just pull up a tab right now, because I need to have all of the tabs open. Cthulhu? Let's see. Where are we at? Yes, an Arkham Investigator's wallet prop set. So here's the thing about wallet prop sets. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Yeah, I need this in my life right now, I think. We're gonna just have to look at this a bit more. So I have been collecting websites that will allow me to create sort of wallet prop stuff for Kolos for a while now. It was going to be one of my gifts for like the 5th season, but we didn't get to finish that, so we didn't get there. But I have things in my mind that I think will be pretty awesome. Like maybe, I don't know, stretch goals or something. Anyway, the point is there's awesomeness on the road, in the future. Let's see. Okay, so the wallet prop comes with the copy of the dog walker, which I have just pulled up the tab for. It is here. I think the solo scenario is only available as a PDF. So, okay. I had a thought and I lost it. Artie says, 2 things that will never run out. 1, the number of video computer games that Trooper wants to play, and the number of different campaigns and different systems that Trooper wants to run. That's probably true, actually. That's probably true. But look, by the way, we're playing the game right now because we are gonna, we have got a villain we've got a case to close, a villain to nab, chocolate to eat. And, we are going to do that. Just, oh, I was going to tell you how I organize my shelf. Hey, Grinny, how are you? It's so good to see you. We're making lovely puns. Starbeam chocolate milk to drink. Oh. I actually need to order some chocolate milk. Also, look, this is what I'm going to do. Today I'm going to go meet with some people at 10:30 tonight for mysterious reasons. Virtually for stuff. But I'm going to go and make food today. And I am going to So I'm gonna make food. I'm going to do some work. I have not done email in a while, which means that I'm way behind on email.
Standing by for larval compound dispersal.
Disperse this instead. Why would you disperse larval compounds?
Affirmative. Dispersing.
Okay. Okay. Give me some joy. Let's kill the larva. All right,
Message from Rissa's distillation station.
What have
Oh.
you done? What in law's
Nothing.
name have you done? You hijacked our atmosphere. Are you trying to kill us all? No. You're trying to kill my symbiotes. I'm not going to let you destroy everything I've built. I can still fix this. I can undo the damage you've done.
End of transmission.
Hey, we've got something to do. We're gonna go have to hang out with some friends, and we're gonna have to probably gonna have a stern conversation with Ludovico. By the way, I was right that he did it. I wasn't wrong. I was right the whole time. I knew it. I just knew it. I was right. What the fuck is happening there? Yeah, did I do that? Green smoke is good this time. Well, it's bad for parasites. So here's the thing that I wanted to say. Besides, I adore all of you so much. So I have been so busy recently, right? Like, inordinately so. Organization of shelves. And it has caused me to be very behind on my email in a sad way, where I am concerned for my life. Maybe not for my life, but I am concerned because it is a lot of email. Hey, where are we going? Wait a second. Well, I suppose we're going here, right? Can we fast travel? I feel like there's a fast travel option here, but I don't know if we can, wait, so you know when you're like so close to a fast travel space and then you, get distracted? Not personally, but, all right, you know what? We're not gonna worry about it. We are going to head out this way. Anyhow, let's see if we can make it. I'm just trying to figure out which direction we're headed in so we can get there. Okay, so we need to get over to this other... Okay. All right, that's fine. I really feel like there is a fast travel way to get here, though. But, maybe we don't need it? Yeah. Okay, we're gonna just go this way. I'm gonna read chat. Let's see. Rissa says, I just picked up a Miskatonic repository supplement on libraries for no reason. Rissa is the GM for the Call of Cthulhu campaign that I'm a player in. And this is a campaign that has been going on for a couple of years now. It's been going on for how many years, Rissa? I feel like it has been more than... I feel like it's been a few. I feel like it's not been 10 years, has it? No. Well, what year is it? It's 2023, which means 10 years ago it would have been 2013, so it could very well be more than 10 years. Rissa, hold on. Hold on a second. Give me a moment. I'm gonna just check this. Now, I will note that I did not start in this campaign. I'm gonna have to do this if I want to see what's going on. I did not start in this campaign because it started before me. So I have, let me see, Rissa Thulu. And let me see. info notes. So the first set of notes I have are from 2013, which means I have been playing in this game for 10 years, at the very least. It, I, yeah. I've been playing in this game since probably July of 2013, but the game itself is older than that. So this is a Cthulhu campaign that's been going on for at least 10 years, that Rissa GMs and is amazing in. And everything is fine in that campaign, in case you were worried. I can't figure out who said, did I do that? Steve Urkel. Yep, Steve Urkel. Emerald haze along these plains. Wow, taught me, don't stand in green stuff. Yes. Didn't know you'd forgotten, Max. I could have told you. Family matters. Family does matter. Oh, these people don't seem like they're doing well. Let's do that for a moment and pull out a sniper rifle for a second. And also, I'm gonna just do this because I want to catch one chat without losing my food bonus. That is don't set the fire when I was playing. A couple, more than a decade. It's been more than a decade. Yeah, Tim was an NPC, and today is the 11th anniversary of his passing. Yeah. Ooh, Tim was great. Stepped away. What games? It's yeah. Rissa has been playing it, has been running it longer than a decade, but I've been playing for about a decade. What? Wait, is it a game you played as a baby? You did say they played it before you. Yes, because I am very young, very young. So thanks. What era? Oh, yeah. So Rissa notes the game started in 1947 Seattle, and now we're 1950 Seattle. And it's a trooper reaction stream. Don't worry, you didn't miss anything because I was just walking. Sorry, you just made me think about something, y'all. There's a, when I was a kid, I had a, excuse me for one moment, I had an LP of 1950s music. And let me get out of that, and then also switch over. Let me shoot this guy a little bit more. Oh, how are we doing, everybody? Why am I feeling badly? Oh, I think I'm in a zone. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm in a zone right now. It's okay. It's okay. We shot some people, so we're feeling good. Also, let's just do that. Anyhow, I had this album when I was a kid. I had a couple of LPs and random LPs that you got from friends, you know. And one of them was this it was like a golden oldies LP. And one of the songs on it, and it was a very 1950s, very sort of heavy, sort of doo-wop sort of thing. And it had what's really good about that particular album is that it featured a number of 1950s songs that you don't normally hear. It's like an older LP. So there are a number of these doo-wop songs that are not popular now, but they were clearly popular enough for this particular compilation album. And having had this LP has introduced me to a number of these songs that I actually really love, but don't tend to make it on the oldie stations. And one of them was, enter here. Okay. One of them was Walking Along, because I just mentioned that I was walking along. So, and it was, walking along my merry way, singing a song, I will be gay. I found a love, and love is here to stay. Oh, 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 oh. Right? It's a walking along, just feeling glad. Yeah, so actually I learned I was meant to be a musicologist of popular music because I just had access to some slightly obscure, or not really obscure anymore. I'm sure there were big hits then, but just not the ones that you hear on the oldest radio stations anymore. Oh yeah, there's some really, really good ones. And as a matter of fact, I think some of the ones I got some later like CD compilations of doo-wop, etc. And some of those songs on that one album are still not on those compilations. But that was one, Mr. Bassman. Anyway, I had a bunch of really, really good songs that I still know now, and one day I'll do something with. Let's see. Why am I so bad at shooting video game guns? Carl asks. It's a good question. Sometimes I'm good at it. Sometimes I'm less good at it. It depends on how much I'm thinking about chat, I think. Medley album. Thank you, Roller. A good medley album. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Yeah, you found. Oh, Max Ryder just found Walking On. You like it? It's a good one, isn't it? Like that's a good one. I like that one. There are a couple other ones that I can. I wonder if I can. My sister has everything now, but I wonder if I can find the album itself, because there were some I had some good compilation albums with This Person Is Dead. Oh, excuse me. One moment. Give me a second. Let's do this. I'm gonna shoot this person. And we're gonna pop out. We're gonna swap weapons. I'm gonna stand up. Oh, hi. Get away from me. Wrong button. I like that I freaked him out, though. I need to get out of this, because that's a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, there's still more people. I'm gonna do that for a second, and then we're gonna shoot some more people. Actually, I don't think I need to. I think they've got that. I'm gonna just read chat. Good, actually. Yeah. I'm gonna, we're in the putting down the villain part of this particular DLC, which we are doing, or my companions are doing, with great joy and efficacy. I do need to remember what the other games were. By the way, while we're here, might as well just sell some stuff from the vending machine to the vending machine. Let's sell, do we have any junk? Oh, we don't have any junk. And we're also not over encumbered, so we don't have to actually worry about it. I guess we're going this way. I also want to chat with the chat, because there are things happening. And I just, want to... That's sealed. Okay. Person sealed the thing, which is no good, but I think we can probably get there through here. I'm going to check chat, though. Okay, Rissa just said this thing in chat that I do want to bring up, because this is not my experience, and it's also very interesting to me. So, please sing all the songs, Trooper. I love you sing. Hey, I've got more songs to sing, because I want to remember them. So, Rissa says, I hate to tell you this, Trooper, but the oldies stations are now playing songs of the 80s. So, I don't know about your oldies radio stations, but mine aren't. And I found this really fascinating, because the oldies stations we have around here up in the Massachusetts area still only play the exact same music they were playing in the 80s, which is basically 50s and 60s music. If I go to a station that calls itself the oldies station, they play 50s and 60s. And that's exactly what they played in the 80s. If I want 70s, you go to the classic rock station, which is still called the classic rock station. And then recently, I found a station. I found two different descriptors for stations that play music from the 80s. One of them is 80s, 90s, and now. That's what they call themselves. They're like, we're W blah 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 80s, 90s, and now, which I thought is a pretty weird radio format. And then the other one is throwback, the best of throwbacks. So I have found that for some reason the descriptor oldies still has not moved, and I would expect that it would, but it hasn't, and that I find a little bit frustrating, because it makes me feel like the boomers still control the radio format narrative system. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Twitch sings night. Oh, Mr. Bassman. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Hey, Mr. Bassman, I think you're really something with a ba 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 and a da 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 da. Hey, Mr. Bassman, I wanna be a bassman too. No, no. Anyway, that's a great song. Mr. Bassman's a really good one. I recommend it. I actually believe it's by Shirley Ellis, who does the name game, if I recall correctly. Not the Giggle Juice. At least he's bad at shooting guns in a game. Nyoka is Trooper's best friend because she takes care of things while he reads chat. This is true. Chrono's correct. While I'm reading chat, Nyoka's taking care of things for me. I was just bad at shooting guns in games even. Hey, I'm with you. Spectrum Brown makes us frown. So this place is like the Slurm Factory? Yes. Save often. Oh, I should save. Oldies, classical, throwback. 80s, 90s, and now format seem to park in the early 2000s made more sense. Okay, so Josh, I agree with you. I feel like 80s, 90s, and now makes sense if the now is the 2000s, but it's now the 2020s. And that's pretty weird for it to be 80s, 90s, and now when that means you're just basically skipping 2 decades. And it seems like not a good tag anymore, right? Like, I just feel like that's maybe not the best catchphrase for that one. That's all I'm saying. It makes sense if you're doing the 80s, 90s, and aughts. Okay, Josh, I've got something for you. Describing your radio format as 80s, 90s, and now, when it's 2020, gives me real first season of Gilligan's Island vibes. You know, when the theme song for Gilligan's Island in season 2 onwards, where, you know, come hear a tale of a fateful trip that starts on a starts in a something to this on a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour. The mate was a mighty sailing man, the skipper brave and sure. 5 passengers set sail that day on a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour. The weather started getting rough. The tiny ship was tossed. But thanks to the courage of our careless crew, the minnow would be lost. The minnow would be lost. So our crew set sound. There's words on a something desert isle. No. Anyway, then we have, right, with Gilligan, the skipper too, the millionaire and his wife, the movie star, and the rest. That's what they said season 1. And the rest. What's that? And then, of course, you know, season 2 onwards are like with the Professor and Marianne here on Gilligan's Isle. Anyhow, the point is, gives me some real and the rest vibes when you say 80s, 90s, and now, and it's 2023, and I just feel like maybe that's weird. That's all. Johnny Symbol and Ronnie Bright for the Mr. Oh, nice. Thank you, Max Ryder. Remember, and the rest is so terrible. The ship's aground. Oh, thank you. The ship's aground on the shores of this uncharted desert isle. Thank you. That was it. Thank you. If not for the courage. The rest, it was 2 people. It was 2 people. Come on. I feel like actually you cannot. I feel like the rest. So I feel like the rest implies more than 2 people. If I say and the rest, that implies to me a much larger number than 2. I just feel like that's how I feel about that. I wonder if the station was started in the 2000s and they just didn't want to change their jingle. That would make sense to me. But wait, there's 3 more? No, it was only the Professor and Marianne. I can remember the Gilligan's Island theme song by heart. Watch it freaking every day when I was a kid. Also to spoof it for Minecraft, at least of the music. Oh, Max Ryder, it is your job now over in Creation Musings to drop that link to your YouTube. That is a thing you need to do, or I'll be sad. From Wikipedia, says Rissa, oldies is a term for musical genres such as pop music, rock and roll, doo-wop, surf music, broadly characterized as classic rock and pop, from the second half of the 20th century, specifically from around the mid-50s to the 1980s, as well as for a radio format playing this music. That's so interesting. Yeah, that's like for me. That's like I find that fascinating because a lot of our oldie stations here are not progressing past the late 60s. Like they're not getting into classic rock. And if they're going to go up to the 80s, I think we'd have to ask some questions about how they're going to put their format together, right? Because the classic oldie stations would be 50s and 60s, but they wouldn't get into 70s rock, basically, right? Because 70s rock is going to sort of mess with their format, which is basically. You know what's interesting? Sorry, I just had a thought. I'm trying to remember about the 80s stations I listened to. I don't think the 80s stations played a lot of Elvis's rock era. They would play some, but I don't think they would play things like, I don't recall hearing Jailhouse Rock in an 80s, in an oldies station. I think maybe it's now, I remember hearing, let me think, when I'm trying to think about what songs, okay, sorry, I'm thinking about this because this is actually really interesting to me. Because I remember listening to Elvis on the oldies stations, but they didn't play Jailhouse Rock. They played, I'm trying to think about what they played because I feel like Jailhouse Rock is probably actually a little bit too, when I'm thinking about the oldie station, it's a little bit more easy listening than, oh, hold on. We're down. Let me figure out how to not be down for the moment. Because I would like to open that up. But we clearly have got something going on in terms of, what am I wearing? Why am I wearing that hat? This is, what is this? Oh, this is my science hat. Great. I'm looking for something that'll help me hack. Hold on. Block inspiration. Let's see. Highlight range. Oh, I should be wearing that in a second. Let's see. This is for hacking, but I need lock picking. Stealth. Inspiration. Intimidate. Melee. Long guns. Hacking. Defense. Oh, I don't think I... Oh, do I have something that'll work? Engineering. Skills. All right, so we've got lockpicking. That's part... Oh, it's part of stealth. Okay, so I just need to boost my stealth, and we should be good. Okay. I got that. Let me put on something that will boost my stealth, and then we'll just hack that, and then I'll keep chatting with you all of the time. This one. Boom.
You got nimble fingers, Captain.
Because you have to steal all the things. You know what I mean? It's not really stealing. It's more like liberating them from bad guys. Because, have you met these people? Whew. Okay. Right. Elvis. So they didn't play Jailhouse Rock. They didn't play Hound Dog for the most part. They would play the Elvis song they'd play a lot of was Little Sister. Little sister, don't you? Little sister, don't you kiss me once or twice? Or say it's very nice and then you run. Little sister, don't you do what your big sister done? So they played that one. They'd play, I don't think they played It's Now or Never a lot. A Little Sister they played a lot of. They played, Love Me Tender, they played. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because basically the oldie stations just basically didn't play anything that was too hard, is what I would say. They played the Beatles, right? But they didn't play a lot of the Rolling Stones, right? Now I'm thinking, yeah, the oldie stations were basically sort of an easy listening station. Not the same, right? But they just basically didn't play a lot of the harder stuff from the 50s and 60s, a lot of doo-wop, a lot of Motown. And then the classic rock would play much harder stuff. They play the Stones, right? They play Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, all that good stuff. Yeah, so if you're gonna make a radio station that spans the 50s to the 80s, you're gonna have to ponder what is that, what's the sonic sound that you're going for? Because, yeah. Surf rock, they played surf rock, absolutely. Yeah. I need to ponder this because I think this is really interesting. What is this? This is a plasma rifle at 41, so we do want to keep that. This is, let's just, Look, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna break down the weapons that I don't currently need so much because they will allow me to have more weapons parts. And I don't know if you knew this, but I sometimes go through a lot of weapons. My weapons get damaged quite a lot, and I don't think. Ooh, that's nice. I think we can break this down though. Great. If we had another one of those, I think I have some junk now that we could actually pitch, but it's life. It's life, everybody. I'm gonna just check my map. Okay, so we need to go this way. All right, this is our big 360. We can go either one of these two doors. This is the obvious doorway to go, but let's just see if we can get in here just to see. We can. Oh, hey, that's good. I need to check chat because I feel like chat has really important things to tell me right now. Oh, hey. Let's do that. Let's see. Well, by saying the rest, they could add more people for later seasons if needed. That's true. And the rest sounded like it should be at least 5 people. 2 people is considered a couple. Yes, Grinny, I agree with you. Josh says, agreed. Do they market music differently now in the new 20s? Or does the act of categorizing music by decade promote false narratives that music progresses at a fixed rate? So Josh, you just said something that's really important. It's been in my mind for a while now recently, and I do want to talk about it, and it's really about the idea of a narrative of progression. And I really need to talk about it. It's really important. Put it on my list of things to talk about today. So my organizational system that's not there yet, and then this idea of this narrative of fixed progression. I really need to talk about it. It's really important. It's about RPGs because it's been bugging me recently because of this thing that I've been listening to. And so I have to talk to you about it. Don't let me forget, but I want to catch up on chat first. Grinny says, you say I'm hanging out with a couple of friends, and I think you're hanging out with like your 2 besties. You say I'm hanging out with Kelly, Amy, and the rest of our friend group, and I think you're hanging out with Kelly, Amy, and then like 4 or 5 other people. Grinny, I think it has got to be, the rest has got to be at least 4 or 5 people, right? At least 4 or 5 people. The rest feels to me like we're talking at least 4 or 5 people. Yeah. I'm pretty sure the oldie station I listened to growing up played all of Elvis. Yeah, of course they played Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves, so at least early 70s part of their oldies. Actually, that's, okay, so I'm going to note something, Krellin. Our oldie stations, which played almost exclusively the 50s and 60s, did also play Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves. So they did play Sonny and Cher. They played a lot of Elvis, but they didn't play all of Elvis. Because I listened to a lot of Elvis on that station, but it was weird the things they didn't, like... It was weird the things because they didn't play all of Elvis, but they played a lot of Elvis, including some later Elvis from the 70s. So they did hit the 70s. Our 50s and 60s station, they just didn't hit 70s rock, which I think is interesting. Max says, ugh, that took forever. Found the intro music and put in creation musings. Thank you. That's me singing the parts. Oh, really? Though I wish I had started out with a woo woo woo. Yeah. I'm excited to listen to it. I think most of the older music I have heard was from Fallout. So Artie, what's really interesting about Fallout, and this is, by the way, there's a paper in the music of Fallout and a couple other things, is that the stuff in Fallout, most of it was never on our oldie station because it's from the 40s and it's from the pre-rock era. It's like most of the stuff in Fallout is before the rock and roll era. And our oldie station just did not play stuff from that long ago. Where in the heck did I put that? Oh, it's right here. So all the stuff from Fallout, which is really interesting, is not stuff that was generally on our oldie station. Yeah, because it was basically, most of that stuff is like 40 to 54, like that kind of like weird lost decade. And so they don't really, like, 44 to 54. So we didn't have a lot of that actually in our oldie station. We had a station that was basically sort of 40s. We had a 40s station, which would play a lot of Frank Sinatra, a lot of big band. It was mostly like a big band station. Big band, Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald. We had a 40 station, and you would have gotten. But the thing is, you wouldn't have gotten our. Oh, so interesting. Think about genre. Our oldie station wouldn't have played a lot of the stuff in the Fallout soundtrack either because it was too pop for them, and they were more like a 40s, like I think a classic jazz station or whatever, big band jazz station. So they didn't play a lot of that stuff that was on the Fallout station either, because a lot of that Fallout stations, all the stuff on Fallout is either one of two things: either pop music from the late 40s, early 50s, which jazz people are not going to be interested in, but also rock people are not going to be interested in, or it's rhythm and blues from the 1940s to the first half of the 1950s, which rock and roll stations are not going to play because it's not rock and roll, but any kind of like big band jazz station is also not going to play. So basically, you've got this sort of gap. There's like a real gap for music that's like, especially pop music especially from, let's say, 1945 to 1960-ish. 57, 58. A lot of that stuff is in this gap where there's all this music from that moment. Some of that stuff is on Fallout, but there's also stuff like Perez Prado and a lot more like Patti Page and Dinah Shore, and like there's a lot of like mainstream pop music that would be on the top 40 from 45 to 56, 57. That the theme from A Summer Place, which was actually on our 50 station. But there's a lot of this stuff that was very popular, but is basically pre-rock and roll. And it's not the kind of jazz that people are interested in when we go into the throwback stuff. So it just kind of gets lost. It kind of gets lost. And we can see it happening again, perhaps, in a different decade. And what's happening is that a lot of times when people curate compilation things from the past, the people who create those things are a little bit nerdy, and or they're music nerds or music snobs, and they think that pop music is bad, so they tend to avoid a lot of pop music and go for the things they think of as being a little bit edgier, at least at the time. And there was a really interesting paper I read about Stranger Things, about how Stranger Things is giving people a distorted view of what 80s music sounded like, because the people who made the show were nerds, they were not the popular kids. So like real popular music is not represented in Stranger Things, which would be fine for the outsider kids, but there are apparently like scenes of like the popular kids at parties or whatever. And this paper I was reading talked about how the music that was popular in the 80s is not represented in this show. So when people who have never not been born anywhere near the 80s learn what 80s music is through things like Stranger Things, what they get is basically none of the pop music, like the real pop music of the 80s. And I feel like that's also what happened with the 50s, except that we don't really get anything from the mid 40s to the mid 50s, because that's the sort of like lost gap. It's like kind of like a gap decade time period, because when we think about the 40s, we're doing mostly like war era stuff. We go from the 40s, which is mostly war era stuff, then we do the 50s, which is basically rock and roll onward. So there's this like gap that gets a little bit lost. Let's see. I'd love to hear what you think. I used Audacity. Oh, Audacity's good. They don't want to set the world on fire. They do not. No, they wanted a much more whitewashed world. They get the Freaks and Geeks 80s playlist. Yes, that's exactly right. Vulpes, this is exactly right. You get the same thing. Freaks and Geeks is the other one too. Like Freaks and Geeks, Stranger Things. There are all these sort of throwback pieces of media that go back to the 80s, but you're not going to get 80s pop music, right? And also, and this is interesting, right? If you go back to the John Hughes films, right? Because you're like, oh, maybe if I want to know what 80s music was like in the 80s, I'll go to the John Hughes films. But the John Hughes films were all very self-consciously alternative music, at least, at that early 80s stuff, right? It wasn't top 40 stuff. It was all like, these were all new romantic, they were not like mainstream bands. They would often become one-hit wonders due to being on those soundtracks. But just like the soundtrack for Garden State or for Empire Records, these were not like top 40 songs that were put on that album. Those are kind of like alternative folks, right? So if you listen to the John Hughes soundtracks in retrospect. And at the time we knew it. That's why we liked the soundtracks. We liked the soundtracks because they, like, if you were an edgy kid, right? Because they were sort of edgy. They weren't like the top of the pop stuff. So we knew that they were alternative stuff, which is why it was how it was being marketed to us. But if you don't know 80s music and all you're getting is like the John Hughes soundtracks, Freaks and Geeks, Stranger Things, you're going to get a very distorted picture of what 80s music was. And to sort of go back to what Vulpes is noting, what's really missing from all of those things is R&B and also country, right? So there were other genres of music happening in the 80s, and most of these things are not on the throwback radio stations. Like, you are not going to get, yeah, it's a very whitewashed sound, but it doesn't include country, it doesn't include R&B, doesn't include a lot of stuff, and it often doesn't include like top 40 stuff either. It certainly doesn't include adult contemporary from the 80s. So there's a bunch of like soft rock that's also not on there. And you end up getting like some of the, so you end up getting, and then people who were not born then don't know what was popular then. They only know it through these other means. And so we end up getting this very distorted view of what music from the 80s is like. And we've done the exact same thing, of course, with the 50s, right? So I just think it's really interesting to think about, oh, dang it, I'm really sad. I have a book, but it's in my office, not this office, my office in the department office. And it's a book of, it was kind of pricey, and was the 8th edition, so I need to get a new updated version. But Billboard puts out these books, Billboard has, and it's basically all of the Billboard Hot 100, the Billboard Top 40, starting in like 1955, 45, right around there. And it goes from then all up to the present day, and it just lists all of them. And one of the things that I loved about that book is that I would love going back through some of these earlier charts and being like, yeah, none of these are songs that I even have ever heard of, right? This is when I was younger. Now I made a point to learn those songs. But if you go back to like what is top of the charts in these decades that we think we know, it is often not what we have ever heard on the radio because of how our radio formats distort history, right? Gen X playlist. Oh, I'm going to just copy that link address and open up a tab because these are things I need to have. Absolutely. Cool. Okay. Artie says, I honestly couldn't tell you who sang any of the songs in Fallout, though, and it isn't the type of music that I would normally listen to, but while playing Fallout, it seemed to fit. Okay, I have a paper that I want to tell you about that I've not written, but I want to tell you about it. Now you're imagining things. These non-white people didn't listen to music. Right, okay, so here's the thing I want to tell you about this. Okay, can I tell you a paper? I'm going to write an article about it, an academic article. But while I'm going to tell you, I feel like I can be in the game just a little bit.
Definitely not sanitary.
It is not. So I want to tell you about a paper that I want to write, and it's related to all of this. And I hope that you will find this interesting. So, increase pressure levels. Let's do that. Oh. Nope. Sad for you all. Blow it all up. The Inkspots didn't want to set the world on fire, and they can follow its signature artist. Right. So here's the thing about this. This is the thing I think is super interesting, right? And this is the thing I really have to share with you because this is my paper. Do I have time to write a paper on this? Not now. After I finish my main book, then yes. But then after that, I'm going to write this paper, which is about Fallout. I need to collect my other samples to finish the paper because there are more examples that I want to, that I need to gather. But what I want to talk about is this thing that has happened that is, in my opinion, very sketchy, actually. Like, it's it's kind of sketchy, it's interesting. So, but it's about the Inkspots. A paper for, well, see, when I teach ludomusicology, I actually don't write my own papers, but I need to write this paper and then present it at a ludomusicology conference. That's just, where? Oh, hi. You know what? I did not realize here. Give me a second. I did not realize that there were some alive ones here right now. So, Oh, I am standing in corrosive blood. That's bad. How's everybody doing? I didn't realize there were like alive dead things here. I thought there were only dead things here, but that's okay. That's okay. So I need to write it up and then present this paper at one of the video game conferences. I just haven't. You know, I could actually write this up as a conference paper and present it at like a small one. That wouldn't be that much of a hassle, actually. I should absolutely do that. Also, I'm on fire. I am hurt. I am hurt right now. That is a true statement. Yep. No! We have to continue, everybody. Sorry about that. We have to, I died. I didn't even die from monsters. That's embarrassing and sad. Yeah, there are steam leaks all over that room. Thank you for the more death, Rissa. There are steam leaks all over that room. Krellin, of course I can do you a favor. Absolutely. Yes. You've noted the things I want to talk to you about, right? Progression, my organizing system, and then this ludomusicology paper. Yes, Krellin. What favor would you like? Also, boom, okay. I would like it if you would pause the game when you would talk about something instead of failing to multitask and dying. I'm going to try to, I'm going to try to, I can usually walk, I can usually walk and talk. Shooting a little bit less so, but Artie says, I'm curious to hear what this paper is going to be about, as I don't think you've actually said what it was about. So, here's what it's about. Let's just pick all these things back up again.
This place is definitely not
Okay,
sanitary.
so some things to note. A lot of the stuff that you're hearing on the soundtrack for Fallout would not have been basically are part of these sort of interesting lost spot of music that wasn't rock and wasn't really considered cool to some people. But here it shows up in Fallout, right?
I just wanted to make you smile.
But not just Fallout. I would really want to sort of go back, if we were going to talk about this paper, I'd have to start with Back to the Future. That'd be like a precedent for Back to the Future a little bit. And Back to the Future I actually think is quite important for this thing that I want to talk about. But I would start with Back to the Future, and then I'd talk about Fallout. I would talk about, I think it's the Far Cry, where there are a bunch of like weird religious cultists in the Heartland, I think, that one. There are a couple of other spaces where this particular thing shows up. We're going to get into combat, so I'm going to pause. So that one Far Cry, Fallout 3 does it. If you can think of other ones, you should let me know. But here's the thing. So in Back to the Future, if you remember, Marty McFly goes back to the past, and he has to try to make sure that his parents get together. I think that is a Far Cry interplay. It's a Far Cry. It's one of the later Far Cries. And he's got to make sure his parents get back together, and he's at the dance, and there's that band there that's playing. And remember the scene? They're playing Earth Angel, right? Earth Angel, will you be mine? And it's very boring and not very interesting, but it gets the group together, and then he teaches them how to play rock and roll. He plays Johnny B. Good, and it's a black band, and then like the player is like the cousin of Chuck Berry, and then like is like, hey, here's this musical sound. And so the black people learn rock and roll from Marty McFly. And here's the thing that's really interesting. Earth Angel was originally by the Penguins, which is a black group, a black doo-wop group, like, from South Central. But like many songs from that time period, it was covered by white bands, the Crew Cuts being one of the main ones. There's a black band on stage singing Earth Angel, but the sounds coming out of their mouth is not the Penguins, right? It's actually a white group. So they have this sort of white group coming out of the mouths of these black artists to sort of show how like lame and boring they were. Hold on to that. but they're framed, this black group is framed as like being boring and sanitized, and then Marty McFly has to save it for them. Bioshock is definitely in my class that we're doing next week on Tuesday about sort of nostalgia. We're doing Bioshock, Fallout, Cuphead, and L.A. Noire. But Bioshock is a little bit different. I'd have to sort of check their full playlist. But so here's the thing. I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire is being used in Fallout as an example of like, and I've seen some people talk about it, like, oh, the Fallout has all this like super white suburban music. And, but all the stuff that they're framing as being very white suburban music is done by black bands, right? The Ink Spots they're called the Ink Spots. They're a black band. And so there's all of this, it's basically, what's happening is that black music that comes from the northern religious black musical traditions are being reframed as white and not cool, like sort of somehow creepy and very white and very suburban in these video games, as opposed to like black music that's influenced by Southern gospel rather than Northern gospel, right? So what ends up happening is that it reinforces the idea, and this is what all that really hard R&B is doing in this Fallout 3 soundtrack with like a Butcher Pete, that kind of stuff, right? You end up sort of taking the Southern gospel sound, making that all of black music and making that like hypersexual and like very primitive, and that's like blackness and very cool and rebellious. But then you take all of the Northern gospel black music, which is going to be the Orioles, the Penguins, the Ink Spots, the Mills Brothers, all that stuff, and you frame it as white suburban music. But black people were not allowed to live in the suburbs because it was illegal because of redlining and segregation. And white people in the suburbs would not have been listening to that music for the most part because it was black music and we lived in a segregated space. They would have been listening to other music. They would have been listening to like Dinah Shore. So, who's great, by the way. So what ends up happening is that this black music, which is often being made in Baltimore, South Central LA, Detroit, right, in like by working class black people, gets reframed as something that is safer than it was thought of at the time, but also something you make fun of for being like too safe in the midst of this sort of dystopian space, right? So basically, there's something very sketchy going on with like projecting whiteness onto black people who are Northern in a way to make fun of whiteness, but you're doing it by sort of distorting black people's like musical history. Anyway, it's really interesting, and there's a paper there, and I'm very excited to like get some free time to talk about that because it's creepy, but I don't want to present it until I can actually send the paper off to be published. And I should just do that really soon for a lot of reasons, but you know. Anyway, it's really interesting to me. If you go back in time with all of Beethoven's works and then kill Beethoven, who actually created the music? It's a good question. Beethoven of the original timeline, in which you are no longer existing. Artie says, I was just assuming this song was used due to the lyrics fitting the world of Fallout. Yeah, and there's a lot that's missing out of that, right? I wonder if American Graffiti falls in the same category. Yes, Rissa, yes. So what I would say is this is yes and no, yine, right? So what's interesting is that this tendency that I'm talking about does happen earlier. It happens with American Graffiti, Happy Days, Sha-Na-Na. Basically, there's a bunch of people who are taking 1950s doo-wop and sanitizing it in this weird way. And Fallout and the video games, Fallout, etc., what's interesting about them is they tend to actually be going a little bit earlier. They're not actually doing the 50s. They're doing, they're not doing the rock and roll era, like 54, 55 to 64, 63. They're doing that sort of like late 40s, early 50s. So they're doing one decade earlier. So they're doing pre-rock and roll, but it's the same thing. It's the same thing that American Graffiti is doing. But, well, it's similar. It's not exactly the same. It's similar, but because it's a different decade, they're doing slightly different things. And one of the big differences is that with American Graffiti, Happy Days, Sha-Na-Na, et cetera, that's music that is very, very well known. Like that was music that was well known. So they were taking music that was well known. Okay, so here's the difference. And the difference is important. This is important. so the difference is the politics are a little bit different because of how rock and roll was different from the stuff that was before rock and roll. Sonically, they're often exactly the same. It's often the same music, but in terms of what the genre means, it's actually quite different, and who the audience was, it's actually quite different, and that matters. So it's music and temporal colonization. Yeah, that's what it is, right? But so here's the difference, and this difference is important. So the music of Fallout and that one Far Cry and a couple other video games is before the rock and roll era. This is important for the following reason. Rock and roll was basically just rhythm and blues in the very beginning, given a different name by the DJ Alan Freed. Alan Freed wanted to play black people's rhythm and blues to white teenagers, but he knew he couldn't if he called it rhythm and blues because of segregation. So he just took a lot of basically rhythm and blues at the time. He called it rock and roll. He played it for white teenagers. And then, of course, you get Elvis and white, usually, to be very clear, white Southern Pentecostal artists for whom this is part of the music they grew up with anyway, also coming into the scene, sort of creating this interesting space. But the difference between rhythm and blues and rock and roll that's important in this moment is that rock and roll was directly challenging segregation because it was this sort of hybrid music, and because it was marketed to white teenagers, which rhythm and blues was not, you started getting audiences of young people of more than one race who want to be at concerts together and dances together, and that is illegal throughout the Jim Crow South and parts of the Midwest. Like, it's illegal. You cannot have black teenagers and white teenagers dancing together, or even in the same spot of the concert hall, right? The venue, right? Black people would have to be in the balcony, while white people could be on the floor. Or if they didn't have a balcony, they put a rope down the middle of the thing, and you'd have black people on one side and white people on the other side. And if you were Hispanic, you were probably on the white side, depending on where you were. Asian people would be on the white side, depending on where, right? Because that was just how legal segregation worked. But this was like, segregation was the law, right? Neighborhoods, venues, like these. And if you broke the law, you would be arrested. And what rock and roll did, not rock from later, but rock and roll, because rock later, which is 64 onwards, doesn't really count because we have gotten rid of segregation, right? So, but what rock is doing is it's opening up a space of race mixing, right? And it's opening up a space where people, especially young people, are wanting to break down these barriers of segregation. And then they did, and then they got arrested for it, right? You would have people shooting at the tour buses of these, like Alan Freed put together these sort of during the rock and roll era, which is like 1954 to 1964, more or less. Some people would say 1954 to 1960, but we can just go with that. Basically, it's from Billy Haley and the Comets' Rock Around the Clock to the coming of the Beatles, right? That's the rock and roll era. But sort of in this moment, right, in this rock and roll era, which is also like the legislative phase, right, the civil disobedience phase of the civil rights movement, right? This is just the civil disobedience phase of the civil rights movement, which is basically 1955 to 1964, is the exact same time frame as the rock and roll era. They overlap completely. Then there's the transition from 64 to in the civil rights movement. We were just talking about this in the history of African music class. But the civil rights era in the United States has canonically had three eras. We now have added a fourth. The first era is the legislative phase, and that goes up to 1954, and it ends with the Brown versus Board of Education victory, and that ends the legislative phase. And then from 55 to basically 64, which is the rock and roll era, we have the civil disobedience phase of the civil rights movement. There's a transitions moment between 64 and 66. And then from basically 66-ish, 64, 66 to 75, we have the Black Power era. And that is going to correspond with the soul era in Black music. Basically, that's when the charts get called the soul charts. And then basically we have no civil rights movement, according to the canonic historians, until 2014 when we enter the Black Lives Matter era of the civil rights movement. Which is weird because you're like, well, was nothing happening between 1975 and 2014? Weird, but you know how historians are. Anyhow, talking about big movements. So the rock and roll era happens during the civil disobedience phase of the civil rights movement. And what's interesting about the civil disobedience phase is that it is marked by, very specifically, like if you're thinking civil disobedience phase, you're going to be thinking Martin Luther King Jr., right? But it starts with young people. It starts with college students who are going to do the sit-ins at the lunch counter, and they're going to go and like do the lunch counter, right? Forced desegregation. It starts with college students of multiple races getting on these buses, Greyhound buses, in northern or western or midwestern states and riding those buses into the South because the Supreme Court said you cannot segregate interstate travel. And then they would ride into the South. And when they got into the South, people would set their buses on fire, right? The Greyhound bus on fire and like try to kill them, and people got killed. But this is the exact same time that rock and roll is happening. And rock and roll, what it does is that it has people of more than one race together, making music together. And the music itself is hybridized, right? Of basically working class white people and working class black people together. And so rock and roll as a genre at the time it was happening was itself very radical and about sort of challenging segregation. And also the people who did not like rock and roll and the people who did like rock and roll were very aware of this. And that was one of the reasons why rock and roll was attacked. If you look at early rock and roll, anti-rock and roll propaganda, there's a lot of things they say. The more mainstream stuff is like basically it's a communist plot to undermine the morals of America and destroy the fabric of America. And so we have to get rid of rock and roll. But there were a lot of white citizens councils and just very racist people who were like, rock and roll is terrible because it's race mixing, because it's getting white kids listening to black music and that's going to destroy the world, right? Like they're very explicit about being anti-rock and roll because of the way that rock and roll was challenging segregation, right? And this is also the reason why rock and roll ends up getting destroyed, because rock and roll, there's a very concerted systemic effort to suppress rock and roll. And that happens by, they draft Elvis, so Elvis is taken out of the scene. They arrest, so Alan Freed is the big DJ who brings about rock and roll, right? Who's like one of the architects of creating the format. He's the DJ who's doing all this work. And Dick Clark is also playing rock and roll, you know, Dick Clark from American Bandstand. So they end up pushing Alan Freed out of the music industry by saying that he's taking bribes, it's the payola scandal, which what everybody was doing. Dick Clark was also receiving payola, but Dick Clark did not integrate American Bandstand. He did not have black people on that show. He did not have black dancers dancing with white dancers. Like there were no black and white teenagers hanging out together on American Bandstand. And he didn't tend to have on American Bandstand the more radical rock and roll players like Elvis or Little Richard or Chuck Berry, that kind of a thing. Or Wanda Jackson, that kind of stuff. He didn't have them on the show. He had tended to have people that were a little bit safer. So they didn't push him out of the industry. He stayed in the industry forever. Dick Clark never left, right? But they pushed out Alan Freed. Elvis was drafted. Bunch of people died. A bunch of people, they arrested Chuck Berry as well. So they arrested Chuck Berry. They drafted, and they arrested Alan Freed a couple times. They didn't put him in jail, but they pushed him out of the industry. So basically a lot of the big people who were part of the rock and roll moment in the 1950s get pushed out, arrested, drafted. So basically what is that rock and roll era basically gets shut down by the time we are hitting the early 60s. And that kind of challenge to segregation that's coming out of black and white teens, Latina teens, Asian American teens, there's like a real challenge that's coming from Southern teenagers, Midwestern teenagers, Western, Eastern, like it's all happening. And that gets shut down, right? That gets shut down pretty quickly. And then it gets replaced with the rock era, which is mostly an all-white space now, right? It's mostly like a lot of white British musicians doing black music, but the black musicians are now pushed out. And then the audience is no longer as multiracial once we get to the rock era. So my point here is that when you do American Graffiti and Happy Days, you're taking music that was very explicitly rebellious and anti-segregation and pretty like about racial politics, like really intense, like a moment of racial change and challenge in our country, and you just make it not that, right? You take this thing that was like people were shot at a lot, right? And it was like, and also teenagers were rebelling. There were like riots when people, like the police, like Alan Freed was arrested in Boston when he was on this tour, this big concert tour, and when they got to the venue in Boston, it was like super, like the police were everywhere, it was super repressive. They were made sure that nobody danced with each other. And he said, they don't want you to have any fun. And then the police were being a little bit heavy handed. And then the teenagers just had a riot. They had a bit of a riot. They started beating up the police officers, and you can't tell us not to dance with each other. It was a whole thing. And so then they arrested Alan Freed on charges of inciting a riot because he said they don't want you to have fun, right? So, but my point being is that rock and roll of the 50s was this very, very, very intense and scary genre, and Happy Days and American Graffiti, and even to some, The Big Chill, they take this very radical moment, in this very radical moment of history, and they just make it not that. They just make it just not that at all. And that is different than taking music before the rock era, like the Mills Brothers and the Ink Spots, and turning that into suburban music. Because they're taking that moment when the rise of the suburbs, right post-war, 44, when you have white flight and everybody's moving out of the cities into the suburbs, which is going to basically cause collapse of inner cities. They take the music that's being made by Black populations in this moment of white flight, and they place it in the suburbs, right? So that's it has different political implications when you sort of shift rock and roll to when you shift the music of the immediate post-war era. And so they're doing different political things. They're similar, right? But they have different political implications for doing that. And by the way, I'm just going to take a couple of notes about what I said, because that should also be in my paper. That's all. Just took a very quick note. Anyway, so I think it's really fascinating, and there's like a really good paper there. So I'm going to say, did I ever watch any of Utopia Falls? Oh, go walk the dogs. Let's see when you come back, Max Ryder. I have not, but I'm going to write it down. Utopia Falls. I should also, there's also that other movie. It was Tomorrowland, maybe, I think it was. I'm streaming until, it's a good question. Let me look at my, I started on time-ish, so probably 3:15, 3:20, around there. Probably not later than 3:30. I want to be done before 3:30 because I like to do a good 3 hours. So around there, we'll see where we're at. We'll see where we're at. And let me see what we have here. So the early 90s civil rights never happened. No, they do not include them, Jer, in that narrative, which I think is actually pretty messed up. And I think one of the problems with the ways that we sort of periodize history is that they're talking about the civil rights movement. So for them, they don't see anything happening from 75 to 2014 as a movement, which I actually think is pretty messed up, because I actually think you really do have to talk about the 90s and NWA and yeah, but I just don't think they're categorizing it as a movement. They're like, where's the organization? Where are the charismatic leaders? And I was like, well, maybe it's decentralized. I don't think it's actually fair to, because things were still happening, right? Like you still have the late 80s and into the 90s, you've still got leaders doing stuff, right? That's when Jesse Jackson runs for president. And you've got like Rodney King, right? The Rodney King riots. You've got NWA. There's a lot of stuff happening there. But also if you go into the 2000s, you have that whole moment where Kanye West said George, like around Hurricane Katrina. So all that stuff was happening. So the point is, all the stuff is happening. It's just that historians get weird sometimes. Historians sometimes fall into the trap of being really invested in great men theories, right? So if they don't have one, they sometimes say nothing is happening, but that's just not true, you know? So I always try to like challenge that. And that, by the way, it's the same thing with feminism. They do the exact same thing with feminism. They said that the first wave of feminism is in the 1890s to the 1920s, and that is suffrage. Then you get second wave feminism, which is then going to be basically the 1950s to the 1980s. Then they say third wave is basically 80s and 90s, and then nothing happens in feminism until Me Too, which they will then call fourth wave feminism. But then I was like, are you saying that nothing happened in the 2000s and early 2010s? Like, what's that about? So there's a way in which a lot of historians of like social movements, not me, for some reason, basically erase, depending on which movement you're talking about, the 80s, 90s, and aughts as basically saying that nothing happened. And I think we cannot ignore the fact that they also tend to erase Gen X in general. Gen X does get to be represented in feminism as third wave feminism, but generally speaking, what I have noticed is that there is often a gap, which is basically the boomers did stuff, and then the millennials are doing stuff. But that kind of middle era ends up not being really seen as like often gets not named as part of a social movement era, which I think is pretty messed up. But you're not surprised, right? Come on. Yeah. Between 75 and 14, Black Lives Didn't Matter, hence the name. Yep. Yeah. Artie says, I think you would find it interesting, especially in regards to what you've been talking about with music and how it can be used for both revolution and for pacification. Artie, I'm now putting a box around Utopia Falls, and I will watch it because that seems really up my alley. Okay, we're going to just shoot some things right now. While we're here, we're going to just do a little bit of shooting. And,
Here we go.
oh, hi. See, look at this. I just got hit with goop. And that's, oh. Why? Oh, there's steam everywhere. Right. I don't want to get hit by steam. This is what's happening right now. I just don't want to get hit by steam, but we're fine. That fight went a lot better than the other fights. Maybe I just had to get that thought out of my mind if I wanted to actually be successful in fighting. Probably what it was. Just for the record, I succeeded. I'm not dead. We're not going to get hit by steam, and this went much better than the last time. And I feel good about my life. Oop! I just walked through steam, didn't I? I did just walk through steam. Awkward. Let's not do that. Let's not get hit by steam a bunch this time around, because I feel like that's not the best. But I do feel like we can get around most of this. Let's just loot a little bit. I did want to. I feel like. So that's the. So the paper talk I really want to talk about is how. So we have multiple spaces, multiple ways we can go. Let's see what we can see map-wise. Where are we at? Oh, I don't think we need to go that way. I think this is not the place for us. So let's go. Let's go this way. So that was that topic. Finish that topic. I want you to know it. But yeah, I just think there's a lot we can do there, and I think it would be very interesting. Okay. But what about up there? Where do we really need to go? Well, I think we have to go that way. Let's go that way. Gwenta, yeah. Thank you for doing the favor, Trooper. You're welcome. I'll work on it. Okay, so the second topic, which is I want to talk about progression because it's about RPGs and it's a thing that's I've been dealing with that is making me unhappy, but I won't do that one yet. Instead, I will talk about really quickly my organizational system, because that is a fast one, and that one is imminently multitaskable. So I just basically I sort my games alphabetically with one cheat, with the cheat being that if the game itself takes up too much space, would not fit. Like GURPS and D&D and now probably Traveler are probably going to might have to shift where they are in their on the shelves, because there's just so many of those books that I'm going to need to like I might have to cheat about where they get put, like they might have to be put together. Anyhow, so I do the games themselves alphabetically, more or less. with a couple exceptions of games that take up too much shelf space by themselves. And then I... Ooh, hi. I have not been using a shotgun in a while. And...
That's the last of them.
So alphabetically, and then after I do it alphabetically, then I do the core books first. Like, so the first thing you'll get on, like, within the game itself, the core books. So if there's any kind of like base core book, that goes first. And then depending on what goes next depends on how the game is organized. With GURPS, I just do alphabetically because basically everything else is supplements. So I usually will do like supplements and adventures alphabetically. Some games are a little bit tricky because, like, let's say for Traveler's organized. I will often go core books, supplements, adventures in that order. So I'll do core books first, and then supplements alphabetically, and then adventures alphabetically. That tends to be how I go, but there are some exceptions. Like if the adventures are, like with GURPS, there are adventures that are tied to supplements, right? So like I would probably put everything that is, I would put all the transhuman space adventures with the transhuman space books is basically what I would do, right? Excuse me. Excuse me. Everyone, do your stuff. So like sometimes if there's a line that sort of hits together, then I'll put those together. But basically, I try to make it so that at any given moment, if somebody says to me, "Oh hey, what are your thoughts about like?" I was like, "Oh, there's something I want to tell you about like RuneQuest." I'll just know exactly where it is, and if I'm going to be running RuneQuest, all of my RuneQuest things are exact same space. If I'm running GURPS, like I like to have it so that if in the middle of a game I need to turn around and get something, or in the middle of a stream, I'll know exactly where it is and I don't have to go searching for it. And also, if I want to buy a new book, I can just look to see if I already have it really easily. So that tends to be how I organize my RPGs, because that is what allows me to get what I want quickly and easily. It's just not organized right now. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I forgot. Also by edition, right? So I will put, like, all of my AD&D stuff will be in one section. So game by edition chronologically. So game alphabetically, edition chronologically, core books, supplements alphabetically, and then adventures alphabetically, unless the adventures are specific to a particular supplement. That's how I organize my gaming books. Oh, and then I should probably say either before or after, but in a separate section right next to them, all of the books that are not game books, but that are books about gaming, will also be in their own section, alphabetized by author. That's what I do. And let me just
Do you think they build a handrail or something?
No, I don't think they're into handrails. I think they're into unsafe work environments, because have you seen this place? Also, handrails would cost money, and they seem to not care about worker safety. They seem to be, they don't care about worker safety at all. Also, I'm gonna just save while we're here. Shooting. Hey, Chaos Nick, how are you? Chaos Nick, I've got your tab up. So good to see you. It was a one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. So let me tell you now the new thing. The thing I wanted to tell you. I don't think I've had a chance to tell you this yet. But it's a thing that's been on my mind recently. And I find it slightly frustrating. Okay, great. We'll go this way. Ready to enjoy the sun be outside? Oh, nice. I am going to get groceries, cook food. I'm going to do a lot of work today after stream before I do this podcast thing. And I'm very excited to maybe take a walk out. I'm going to take my bike ride. I'm going to take a bike ride tomorrow. I wonder if I'll take a bike ride today. What if I took a bike? I'm going to take a real bike ride tomorrow because I now am able to. But maybe I can take a bike ride tomorrow as well. Today as well. I'll think about, ooh, hold on a second. We've got a little bit of problems right here. Let's deal with this. And let me pop out of that. And let me switch guns for a moment. And then while I'm here, let me just do a bit of this.
That's not right. Never felt so good.
Also, my friends, don't you have powers that you should be using right now? Because if you do, you should be using them. I feel like that would be a good idea. Okay, I'm also gonna maybe just do a little bit of this. Oops, pardon me. How are you doing? Okay, that was a pretty good combat, right? I feel like none of my friends died. I killed a lot of people. I did have some accuracy. And I also was saying a few thoughts at the same time. That was not bad. Could have been better, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. And I also did pause a little bit. And we're also still not over encumbered. I feel like this is like a win-win all around. This is all good times, is what I'm trying to tell you. Y'all, it's been so long since I've been able to talk to you. I have so many things to share with you all. And I'm very excited to do it, as maybe you have noticed. Also, now I'm encumbered. Let's repair our stuff. We're very close, so I think what we probably can do is maybe just like break down, if we got any extra weapons, we might be, yeah, like we got some weapons here, and these are pretty low level, so we can break those down, which will probably get us under encumbrance. And it did. So we're under encumbered. We've got some more weapons parts, and I feel like life is pretty good. Vjeza. Yeah, handrails are an unnecessary excuse. Let's see. I'm back. How goes the truck? We actually been doing pretty well. Of the soda plant? Yes. So let me tell you this third topic, which has been, it's been on my mind, and I haven't had, since I've been doing this, I haven't had a chance to really talk to you all, so I haven't been able to share with you, but I'm excited for it. Also, there's going to be a way I'm going to do something a bit more with this, but we'll work it out. So, I'm so glad to get to chat with you all. What is this? Engineering ticket. Everything seems to check out at this tank, but I'm not exactly sure if the liquids it's leaking is supposed to be glowing or not. I have to send this up to corporate to see if we are working a bioluminescent spectrum flavor or something. No, whatever it is, it's bad. It's just bad. They just are abusing you, and they don't care about your safety, and they want to infect you with parasites that will take over your mind and destroy you, because they're not the greatest people, is really what it is. So we're gonna find our administrator. That's fine. We are, looks like that's probably the better way to go. Yeah, let's, but what is over there? I'm gonna just see what's over there, because maybe we can open that door. And yes, we can pick that lock. Sweet. Look, because if we pick locks, we find things to loot, and then we get ammo, and then our life is good. We do need to eat food. We are now also over encumbered, but there are ways around this. I believe that I have some Raptidon meat, which is very, very heavy, which we'll eat. Like, look, it's okay. We're fine. I did not spot Laverne and Shirley yet, but I love them. Who doesn't love some Laverne and Shirley? All right, so let me tell you this second thing I want to talk to you about because I think it's really interesting. I hope I didn't destroy this. No, that shotgun's up there. Okay. Oh, speaking of which, this is level 36, which means we should keep it. This is level 34, which means we can break it down. And this long gun, it is a, what is this? It's a rifle. It's a plasma rifle. It does 483 DPS, which I feel like is a replacement for my 483, 446. Is this better? I'm going to equip this, and I'm going to see if it is better than my sniper rifle. Let's see how we feel about it, because maybe it's got some stuff for us. Also, isn't there there's a workbench around here, right? I think I'm going to tell you about this thing while I just see if I can upgrade this weapon a little bit, because if we can, then we should. Which, if I remember correctly, was this one. Yeah, let's tinker on it while we chat and see if there's anything we can... Oh, nope, it cannot be tinkered any further. Okay, so we can't do anything more on it. Okay. We can do more on some of our other things, even if we don't have the money for it. So we need money, is what we need. Okay. We might be able to get this sniper rifle to actually overtake the other one, but let's... You know what? I wonder if I have a better add-on for this one. Let's just see if I do, because if I do, we're looking at the, what is this? This is the Fun Times Barrel, which is crit damage. We like that. This is the damage type. We've got plasma on, which I think is fine. And this is our scope. This gives us extra range. This gives us more sight. You know what? I actually don't think the Super Scope 2000... I think the thing we have right now is actually probably the best on it already. So I don't think there's much we can do to make this better. So yeah, I think we don't mess with it. I think we're good. I think we eat food and go through the door. And then I tell you about this... I only have one other topic left right now at the moment. I'll get more. But I only have one more topic left, and it is this podcast I'm listening to. I'm eating food. And I'm going to eat Raptidon meat, because Raptidon meat is very heavy. And that will save me. Yeah, because like Raptidon meat weighs like a half a pound a piece. So I just need to eat Raptidon meat because it's taking up a lot of weight. So save. And then we'll chat. Oh, Lenny and the Squig Tones. Lenny and the Squig Tones. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it. I am better in long guns, is I believe what I'm best in. Let me resume and double check. So for my character and my skills, I have a long guns of 56, and my best is handguns. Handguns is what I'm best at. I'm at 70 at that. So I'm long guns 56, heaven weaponry 47. I'm not particularly great at that. And the science, I'm at 50 at science, but it's up to 80 because of my stuff. And science are those special weapons, right? The science weapons are based off of science. Those like funky weapons, of which I do think I might have a couple on me. So I've got this Gatling, Spectrum Gatling. It says it's a 182. I've got a one-handed melee. So this is the Needler, which is this weapon that I got. It's a science weapon, gives you corrosion. I just don't know if it's going to be better than what I currently have. I mean, let me equip it and see what it'll do for me, because maybe it'll do something. So this is at 95 DPS, which does not feel like it's better. Doesn't feel great. Doesn't feel great. Let me go to that workbench. There it is. And maybe we can make it better. Maybe we can make it useful, because at the moment it does not seem as if it is. We cannot modify them. It doesn't look like. We can tinker with them though. I'm gonna spend my money tinkering this and seeing what we can do on this. We see if we can get it to some kind of useful level of damage. I also don't have those bonuses that give you bonus to science weapons, but okay. Why do I have a everybody, why do I have a symbol on my screen right now? You can't see it. It's behind the canteen. It says Costolorine, and then there's like an arrow pointing downward. What is that? What's going on right now? Gotcha. So that's like 114 DPS as opposed to my regular pistol, which is 1034. But I've got a thing going on and I don't know what it means, and I feel like we should try to figure that out. Summary. Beverage, so that's fine. I've got nothing there. Skills, perks, details. All right, details. Current level, okay, confidence, meat, needed to level. I think that I'm maxed out on my level. Food addiction, vermophobia. Yeah, so I don't know what this Costolorine, I don't know what this is. Back when I played this on Game Pass years ago, I did a heavy science energy weapon playthrough. Oh, was that fun? So I'm gonna hold on. Do you know what I'm not seeing here? Guess what? In other weapons, that spot is our ammo. Okay? In the other weapons, that's our ammo. And this has got... Oh! I can change what this is doing. So one is Costolorine, one is Debilorol, one is Rid O Life. Okay, I'm learning something by messing with this. So it looks like... Hold on. I'm going to show you this. Let me get over here so you can see it a little bit better. I need to... Let's see. There we go. Let me erase that for the moment so you can see it. So the science weapons tend to focus on causing more unique effects and heavy damage. So this says Costolorine, and it's got like a little arrow with a down pointing. Oops, sorry, wrong button. Make it there. This is Debilorol, which looks like bad foot, worse movement. And this is Rid O Life, which looks like that's probably going to be bad for organics. So I'm thinking this is about wanting to damage armor, wanting to slow people down, and then just doing bad damage to them is what I'm going to assume that is. But then, if that's the case... Yeah, we're going to just... we're going to think about this. Because we're going to try this weapon out. But we'll start with... Debilirol to get people to be slow. This is the needle gun. This is the needle gun. So I just got it from Halcyon Helen. Ridolife is a deadly green liquid that slowly damages the target. Costolorine is a corrosive yellow goo that slowly eats with the target's armor. Debilirol is a numbing purple liquid that slows the target. Potency of these chemicals scale with the wielder's science skill. Okay. Okay. Shoots hypodermic needles. I'm into it. We're gonna test out things and see. Oh, why did you just go to Ridolife? Why did you do that? Did you see that just...
Check your weapons, folks. Could be anything
Oh.
in there.
Oh, hold on. Let's save the game. I saved too early. I saved too prematurely. That's okay. Everybody, we're going to, this is apparently, this is it. This is it. While we're here, let's, go to the vending machine and sell all of our junk. I doubt any of these things will be interesting for me to buy. Oh, hey, now available. I can purchase this restricted stock. It's really expensive, though. And I only have 577 bits. Right, because I don't have money. Good, it's great. So just so you know, at this moment, before we go into the badness, I'm gonna just sell some stuff because not only would it be useful to not have extra things I don't need here, it will lower my encumbrance, and I feel like that'll be great. Let's just... I also think I might have 2 of these space aviator glasses. Yeah. Let's just sell some things that we have extras of that we don't need. This is a bunch of cool armor to help my skills. Do I need it? Do I not need it? I don't know. We'll get rid of it. This is pretty low level stuff, right? Let's keep these for now. But then I'm not going to sell any of my stuff because I just don't think it's actually valuable in terms of money. I don't think I'll be making, well, hold on. Value, all right, okay, hold on. Look at this. Spectrum Brown is worth quite a bit of money. Okay, be back soon. I never played any of the DLCs, they weren't out of that. Yeah, I waited long enough. So this is Spectrum Brown, it's worth a lot of money. Do we sell it? It gives you strength, charm, health, messes with your mind, dexterity, and then afterwards, it looks like you get a bonus to your mind, temperament, but your health goes down, your attributes go down, and then it lasts for 2 minutes. I have a lot of this stuff, and I could sell it for a lot of money, but... Oh, right. What's in Spectrum Brown? I don't tend to drink a lot of alcohol because there's like a negative thing. I mean, I suppose I could just hang out and be hungover later, right? But, you know what? RP. We're doing this RP-wise. We are not... But if I sell it, then other people might drink it. No, we're going to sell it. Why? Because I think it's a bad idea to drink that. It may give you bonuses. Maybe it doesn't. But it is bad for you. So we are selling it because it's not good for you. Now, this is just pure, and it gives you a lot of mind with no downside, right? So those things... You know what? Parasite. Right. I feel bad for selling all the alcohol because I am a bartender, but you know what though? Bartenders often don't drink because they see what this does to people when you drink a lot. So I'm going to sell all of my alcohol. This is an RP choice, everybody. And it also clears up my inventory so that Krellin will be proud of me.
Somebody's watching me.
I always feel that Somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Ba-da-ba-bow. Thank you for that follow, Zombrebrube. Thank you. Look, I have just sold stuff. You should be proud of me. I am also, look, am I, what's the word? Procrastinating before we go into the final boss battle? Maybe. But I'm also trying to show you that I'm trying to be responsible by not hoarding all of the things. And yes, perhaps I'm decluttering right before a big battle. But isn't that when you want to declutter? You know, like, isn't that the right time to declutter? I feel like, good. Yeah. Weapon parts, great. I did it. Rizzo's puts the us in gelatinous. Gonna save again, and then we're gonna do it. Oh, okay. It's hard to be proud of you since you positioned the canteen strategically so I could never see your current carry weight. Makes me suspicious. What? What? I am currently at 311 out of 3. You know, I am. Alerts. But yeah, okay. So this is it, everybody. This is the moment that it all comes down to. Wait, let's not just walk in there. Let's see what we can see. Okay, well, I'm not seeing anything. I mean, look, there's suspicious things, absolutely. But, okay. Cutscene.
Yes, I know you're hungry. Be patient. I'll feed you soon
What?
enough.
Excuse me?
Just a guest. The one I told you about. The inspector.
This is a problem.
Welcome. We were just talking about you.
Perception. There's someone behind you. Wait. You lucky punk. There's someone behind you. Or something.
You and I are standing in the presence of royalty. Don't worry, you'll meet her soon enough. I know what you've done. Hijacked Phaeton, contaminated the air we breathe with your poison. You think you've saved this colony? All you've done is robbed Halcyon of its last chance at real happiness. And you've angered my queen.
By the way, I made a mistake. I did not have the right foot pedal set up ready. So let me put it this way. I have to do this again for me. There's someone behind you, or something. Also, Roller, I love that song, This Magic Moment. That's by who's that by? It's by who's that by? It's by the Searchers? No. It's by the Drifters, right? This magic moment, so different and so new, wasn't like any other until I kissed you, and then it happened. It took me by surprise. I knew that you felt it too, by the look in your eyes. Sweeter than wine, softer than the summer nights. It's such a good song. That's a good song. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that one a lot. Okay. Temperament. Inspiration. Okay. If we do temperament or inspiration, then we don't get to find out more about the queen. But if we let him talk, then he monologues. We might be able to go and like, what do you think? Inspiration. companions. Friendship is magic.
Nope.
Nope.
Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to feed you to the queen, and then I'm going to find a way to repair the damage you've done. Don't be afraid. She can smell fear, and it makes her absolutely ravenous.
Then she must
Your
not be
Highness.
hungry. Whoa!
Dinner is served. Wait.
Oops.
No.
Hold on.
Not me.
Nope. No. What do you think's gonna happen? Yeah, I mean, what did you think was gonna happen? Come on. This is the thing. This is okay. This is the thing. Excuse me for one moment. This is the thing about becoming a Cthulhu cultist. When you become a Cthulhu cultist and you're like, hey, Cthulhu, Dread Cthulhu, I'm going to serve you and you're going to kill all of my enemies. You know, it never works out that way. Never works out that way. Dread Cthulhu is like, sure, wake me up before you go. And by go, I mean, I'm going to eat you too. Like, I'm just saying, it never works out. It never works out. It's always a bad idea. Full on COC, woot! Yeah, Ludovico was supposed to be mine. Look, I'm just saying, don't do it. If I can give anybody advice, do not become a cultist for an eldritch being, because they're gonna turn on you. That's what I'm gonna say. By the way, I do want to tell you this thing about. Oh, pardon me. Let's do this, shall we? And then let's do this. I need a different. I need one of these. Also. Okay. How's our queen? I don't, hold on. Yeah, okay, hold on. We've got some problems here, and I don't know, we need to go over here. I'm gonna go over here, because I'm hoping that if I use this terminal, I can maybe, activate the machinery cluster. We're gonna do some machinery stuff. Great, contact the administrative support. No?
Mr. Ludovico? Mr.
Yes.
Ludovico, sir, is there any chance you're still alive inside the Queen's digestive tract? Wait, no. That's his leg on the ground over there. Okay, well, this is interesting. Mr. Ludovico never signed my release, so I'm contractually obligated to stay by my post.
Great.
Assistant Harwell, confectioner and munitions department. How may I be
Great.
of assistance?
I could use some ammo?
Oh, absolutely. Rizzo's
I mean, I don't-
manually operated confection and ammunition dispensers are state-of-the-art. I've stocked the repository right beside your terminal. Thank you for choosing Rizzo's during your moment of mortal terror.
I have got a lot of stuff. That's great. Hang out with me. I feel like we're gonna have to. No. Oh, the queen. Okay, the queen's got some damage. I would like to. Distillery engineering passcode. Why don't we figure out the best way to get ourselves to open up that thing? And once we do that, we just need a. What is this? This is stealth. Tech. I need lock picking, right? Which is stealth. So let me see if I have a stealth armor real quick. Just why am I injured in some way at the moment? I feel like there might be something going on with my body because well, it doesn't look like doesn't look like it. It's just that I normally have a better skill in this than that, and okay, I suppose not. Let's look. Let me just grab a stealth armor. There's a thing going on. Weapons, light, defense, tech, ranged weapons, stealth. Here we go. Let me just grab this real fast. Oh, that needs a little bit of. No. Give me a little bit of this. All right, great. Distillery passcode off. I probably didn't even need that, did I? All right, let's just wear my armor. Let's just repair and equip everything. Great. Yeah, maybe bite the bullet. Roller, I see you. Okay. It's great. We're gonna be hanging out over here for a second because this is like a nice, safe place. So when it comes to my weapons, let's just have a conversation for a moment. I have got my Specialer Needler, which maybe I should use. Try some of that. I've got my shotgun, which I feel like probably not great in this moment. I've got my assault rifle, which we should probably do. Yeah, we're gonna go assault. We're gonna use this, right? Try to get a couple shots, see if this is cool, and then with the Riddle Life. Oh, pardon me. And then we're gonna do a little bit of this. We did it. Oh, hey, that Riddle Life was very nice. That Riddle Life was great. Did you see how much damage that Riddle Life did? Holy moly, guacamole. Well, guess what, everyone? I have a new main gun. Is the story, the long and the short of that one. That was awesome. I am very excited to share that that was an amazing weapon. Oh, it's Ludovico. Pancake mix. Oh, I love pancakes. Let's just take all of that. My science skill is 80, but I don't have, you know, there are those perks that you can get that will increase your science. But my science skill is at 80. I can make it better. Like, I can make it better. So I get a plus 40% to the science weapon effect. Also, plasma and shock damage. I should make sure I've got a lot of plasma and shock damage is what I should probably do. Yes. We can adjust for the future. But also, I don't know if I'm going to get any more perks. I'm at level... Can I level up anymore? Because I would like some more perks. They're the science perks, and I didn't take any of them. And I have this science gun now that I love because it's amazing. And it helped me take out the... You know what? It was Halcyon's Helen's gun that helped me take down this queen. And I feel like that's very fitting. But I'd like to level up more. If anybody would let me level up some more, please, that would be nice. I'm going to see what's on the other side. We're going to loot everything, and I'm going to read chat. And then I'm going to tell you this thing I've been thinking about, which, you know. Access machinery controls. Activate machinery cluster 8. I don't think I need to do that, right? Because I have already killed all the things.
Great work.
Thanks. Let's... I should probably save, actually, but we'll do that once we get to the other side and loot more things. Then I'm going to read chat while I do it. What's your site? My reputation depends on with whom. My reputation depends on who we're talking about. Some people like me a lot. Some people don't like me as much. Also, I suppose we could have used these machinery controls to kill all the bad guys, but we just did it with science. I have to up my science. Also my medicine.
Great work.
Thanks. Don't need it, everybody. Did it the science. Oh, this gun is really good. I'm just very excited about this gun right now. I can't really talk about it, but I can save. Apparently, Ludovico had a bad taste. You know what I need? I need a new sound. I need a new sound clip, by the way, that I can map to my little thing. I need not just this one, but I need this CSI Miami one. You know, so that in this moment I could say, apparently Ludovico had a bad taste after all, and then I could play the thing. That's what I need. Let's note it. Everybody note. I need the dong dong dong. So I need I need that sort of ship's message sound, the bong bong bong, and I also need the CSI Miami yell. Please note, everyone, those are sounds I need to get and put on my soundboard after stream today. Yeah! Da 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 should be super loud, like obnoxiously loud. I killed the queen. We're gonna save. Let's see. Save this data. Yes. What's left of my missions? Well, we have to finish Eridanos, and then basically we're into endgame because I basically did everything but. Yeah, we were playing, and there's that moment in a BioWare game. This is Obsidian, but you know what I mean. This is the unlock with key. There's that moment in any given BioWare game where you're playing it and it's an RPG, and they say, "Hey, if you have any other business to take care of, you should probably do that before you go to this planet." And that is where we got in the main game. We got to that point where they said, "Smoke them if you got them, because this is the end point," right? That's where we got to. So that's why we did our DLC, because we knew that we were at the end of the road. So I think we just need to go this way. So at this moment, all we need to do is just, I suppose, get out of here, do whatever wrap up there might be here, and then we go into endgame. Oh, hi. I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna talk to Assistant Harwell. I'm a little bit concerned. I'm not gonna put my gun away though, because
You made it. I guess happy customers really are repeat customers.
he does have a thing in
I
his
have
neck.
something I wanted to give you.
Thank you,
This is
Rissa.
a golden ticket, good for one free tour of the Purpleberry Orchards. This is my way of showing you that I appreciate you just for being alive.
Thanks for your help back there.
Oh, you're very welcome. I do regret the untimely demise of our broodmother, but my passenger is flooding my brain with all sorts of happy feelings, so I don't mind all that much.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you out of your misery. I think he's very unhappy. He doesn't look like a happy person, and I want to. That's it.
Best shot, Ralph. Damn, what is this?
I had to Billerol, and I should have the other one, the Riddle Life. It's fine. It doesn't look like Rizzo's likes me very much, and I'm sorry about all that. You know, like I am. He just wasn't feeling good. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't. He wasn't feeling good. He was feeling not good. You know, when that one last person was clearly not happy, and so I think that we've done a good job here. We have been helpful. Also, we can't really have them spreading their weird spores outside of this space. So, yeah. I don't think we can, because he's super infected, and I feel a little bit bad about it. But, you know, hey, my friends, let me put this gun away for a second. How are you all doing?
I'd rest easier with that big slug being dead if it hadn't made so many little slugs. Let's get out of this place, Captain.
Yeah. What about Nyoka? Where are you? Hey, my friend. How are you feeling?
After all that, I have one regret, Captain. We didn't
Good.
have time to grab the head of that slug queen. What are we, amateurs?
You know what? We kicked its ass. No, we'll make it light. Where would you even put it?
There's a room on my wall, next to Frida. They can chat while I'm out. Ah, well.
Ah, well, we'll talk later. I love Nyoka. She's got such a good attitude. You know what I mean? She's chill. She makes me happy. We should get out of here. That's what we should do. Let's see. The best way out of here is gonna be. Oh, I suppose we gotta go all the way around there. That's fine. So forward and out. It looks like. Okay, it's fine. Exit. Oh well. Well, that's sealed. Yeah, the exits are sealed. We're gonna have to go around the long way. It's fine. While we're walking, I can tell you things. Oh, go to your stream. Okay, we'll talk to you later, Max Ryder. So here's the thing I wanted to tell you. There's a podcast called Ludo Narrative Dissidents, and it kickstarted. It was done by Kickstarter, right? They kickstarted themselves. Let's sell some junk. Gonna sell some junk. Gonna repair all equipped. And we're going to eat the Raptidon meat, because Raptidon meat is heavy and it will put me under encumbrance, so I will no longer be encumbered. And then we feel good about our lives. Boom. Excellent. And now we're not encumbered. And now we just make it out of here. Hey, Trooper. Okay, I got 15. Thank you, 15. Look, here's my goal. My goal is to get off of Eridanos. Once we get off of this, unless there's something that's gonna like get in the way, we'll just get off of. We're gonna wrap this up, get off of Eridanos, so that we can stay a little bit longer if it means that we're done with Eridanos and the DLC today. But hopefully we don't have much to do besides, because I mean, everybody's dead. We just killed most everybody, right? If you take Victor Max, he will increase your science skill, I believe. Oh, okay. I'm going to have to figure out who I'd replace Vicar Max with. I mean, I could do Vicar Max and Nyoka. They would not get along particularly well. Yeah, I'd probably have to wrap things up with Helen, I think. Wrap things up with Helen, and then we're probably done, right? That's what I'm thinking. Okay. I don't want to put guns on anybody. Let's, we've got a couple of dots over there. Let me just check what my journal says. Captain, go home. Speak with Helen, talk to Cedric, and then return to Ada. Yeah. So it looks to me like we just have to say goodbye, and we are good. It looks to me. Let's do that, shall we? Yeah. And then we're going to be done with our day. Except that there are still a couple of creatures that need to be killed on the way out, which we will just do, I guess. Oh, hold on a second. You know what? We don't have Well, you know what? They're on us. It's fine. Excuse me. Excuse me for a moment. We're going to just do a little bit of that. Thank you. Do we have more people after us? They're dead. Okay. Oh. Who's after us? Good. We're fine. We're fine. There's a limb here. So just we're gonna have to fight our way out a little bit, it looks like, but I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be okay. I'm not too worried. So, as I was saying, there's this podcast called Ludo Narrative Dissidents, and it is a podcast that I kickstarted. So if you kickstarted it, then they did the season, and I kickstarted season 1 and 2, and there are 3 people in the Kickstarter. Greg Costigan is one of the 3 speakers on the podcast. Right, there's 3 people on the podcast. Greg Costigan is one of them, and Greg Costigan did, if you know it, he did Unknown Armies and a bunch of other things. He's like kind of like sort of a big deal in his own way. Let's take care of that. Excuse me. Let's take care of that. And what else? So then there's the guy that founded the Diana Jones Awards, and then basically, and the guy that did Baron Munchausen. So they're like big names. Like these are like big name folks, and they're all kind of like yeah. So the guy, the British guy that did Baron Munchausen, I think he was Hogshead, and then the guy that founded the Diana Jones Awards, and then who's got and then Greg Costigan, who did Unknown Armies. And they also did a lot of work with them. Like, they're like big names, right? So I went and I kickstarted the the podcast, and then I did not have time to listen to it. But since I'm now doing bike rides, I now, because of Krellin, it's Krellin's fault. Krellin's like, listen to your podcasts over on bike rides. And I was like, this is great. Because generally speaking, I can't really listen to podcasts like just sitting here. Like I need to be like doing I tend to need to be doing something physical. Like if I'm riding my bike or cleaning my house or washing dishes, that's when I can like listen to podcasts. But like I can't listen to podcasts while I'm doing other work, basically. So anyway, I started listening to it this time. I'm listening to season 1. I kickstarted both seasons. And I gotta tell you, there's some things in there that are super smart, really interesting, that gives me sort of inspiration. Some things I just disagree with, but like in a way that I'm like, that's cool. Excuse me for a moment. As you can tell, I'm a little bit slow, so let me break down this. And now I'm no longer over encumbered. And let me break down this because I always need more weapon parts. Looks good. Yes, ludonarrative distance. That's the one. I feel like almost all podcasts I've heard are 2 to 3 times as they should be ideally. That's part of the problem. They need more editing in our bloated content era. I suppose it depends on what you want, right? Like, I mean, some people want their podcast to be like 15. Some people want their content to be no longer than 15 minutes. I feel like we are in, Chaos Nick, I feel like we've got both ends, right? People who do not want anything long, which means you can't do any nuance. And then people who might go too long. So I feel like there's both ends happening there in sort of complexity. And I can't, that's just what I'm gonna say about that. So, I'm gonna say, there are a number of things about that. Like, I think they're good people. They've got some blind spots. I think they're very thoughtful. They do some things that tick me off, though, that make me frustrated. They say things every once in a while that it's not the way I like things to be said. They do things that like poke at my sense of fairness. There's not enough mid-range content. Yeah, about an hour is good. Yeah. I see you. Looks like the most recent episode talks about Traveler. Oh. When was the last time they had a new episode? I have to see if there's anything I have to download. I have to check my email, which I've not done in a while. You know how it is. But I'm in the middle of listening to their 13th Age one, because I'm still in season 1.
I must have dreamed up 100 different ways to kill Ludovico. I'll be honest, eaten alive by the queen of the brain slugs wasn't on that list.
I'll have to check my email. You sound disappointed.
Is that so strange? I imagine this moment would be a little more cathartic. But Belinda's still gone, and I don't feel all that different.
Yeah. Chaos Nick says, either extreme for its own sake is limiting. I agree. Everything should be as simple as possible, but not simpler. Yes, absolutely. Roller says, extra politics started with the motto, it's hard to fill an hour. Now they struggle trying to condense or stay on track for 2 hours. Yeah, it's all about scope. So, there are these things they do that upset me, and it's about how you say things, right? So, one of the things that I think is my central frustration with them is this thing they said. They said they were doing a review of Coyote and Crow, I think it was. And they said, Coyote and Crow, one of the problems with the game is that it doesn't evidence any of the progression that our hobby has come from the 90s. It's a very 90s game. It's not like advanced with the advances in development. It has no, it does not show any evidence of influence from PBTA at all, Powered by the Apocalypse. And the thing that bothered me about this, and they've said things like this before, right? That like, it's the narrative that game design in RPGs is advancing like Darwin, like it's some kind of evolutionary teleological thing. And that if you do something that mechanically feels like it's from the 90s, it's fundamentally necessarily not as good as a game that is influenced by Powered by the Apocalypse. That you have to, that gaming is evolutionary, that game design is evolutionary, and that design now is fundamentally necessarily better than it was 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 20 years ago. And that And that also by saying powered by the apocalypse, you're then saying that what is evolutionary and what is superseding the past is powered by the apocalypse and narrativist based games. And I just don't believe that. I don't think that game design happens in a line, in a linear active progression where the things that come after are necessarily better than the things that come before. I don't think that powered by the apocalypse is the end point of game development evolution, because I don't believe in that in the first place. Because of course, powered by the apocalypse is a branch, right? That when we hit the 90s, the end of the 90s, our game design branches, like, and it's always been branching in many different ways. There have always been people like Nobilis is like a form of narrativist gaming that comes earlier, or Amber. But just because you're not doing narrativist does not mean you're not as advanced as other, or not in your game design as other games. And I don't think there's anything wrong. Like if I think about 5 Parsecs from Home, which is a solo game, which I haven't played yet, but I will. And that's like what we'd say like a new advancement in maybe war games, right? But just because it's doing war gamey stuff doesn't mean that it's therefore not as good or not as developed or not as advanced as something that does a narrativist game, right? Like there are people doing tactical kind of, like, I just felt like the language was too Darwinian in ways that I don't think are accurate. I don't think we should think about game design that way. Game designs change. I don't think that makes them better or worse. I don't necessarily think that old games are better than new games, or new games are better than old games. I think they're different. And I think that different people have different priorities. And it's this thing they do, and I don't like it. I don't like it. It makes me unhappy. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that one. Let's see. Give it time. You know what you need? A nice cold but no, none of that. Revenge won't bring your sister back. Save the drama for your next serial. I didn't help you because I like you. No, we're going to go with give it time.
I can't go back to the way things were. I can't return to my old life because it was never my life to begin with. It was shared. Never mind, you don't need to listen to this. Thank you again for your help, Captain. I never would have made it this far without you.
Oh, goodbye. Oh. Oh. That's sad. We should eat food, because we were chatting and in a, you know how it was. Let me eat some food. I'm also not encumbered. Eat some more of that Raptibon meat. Talk to Cedric.
You've done us a great service here, Inspector. You have my gratitude.
Oh, thanks. Now we're gonna go back to our ship, everyone. This is us. This is us going back to our ship. This is the end of the Eridanos, and right on time. This is what it is. It's a whole moment. Oh, golly. Were they involved with PB? I do not think they were involved with PBTA. I don't think they were, but you know they are. Like, and they're designers that I respect a lot, right? I was like, come on, do we have to frame it this way? Come on. Come on. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no need for that. Let's see. Sounds like they have some bias, yeah. But the fact that I can cast Fireball in full plate in 5e is just something they brought back from 1e. Right. You just have to jump through fewer hoops in 5e. And some people like the hoops, right? Chaos Nick says, that analogy is misguided with regard to evolution, since evolution is highly nonlinear, punctuated, equilibrium, etc., and it is not better, just good enough. Absolutely. To suit the present circumstances with plenty of randomness. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? We're getting the games that speak to our moment. They're not necessarily better or worse. Sounds pretty one true wayism as well. Yeah, people often confuse the terms new and improved. And I just like the term different. It's just different. That's all. And some things are not different. But Chaos Nix knows. It's all downhill after Pong. Absolutely. Love those eyes roller. Curl says, capitalism has put a lot, yes, of effort to make sure that we connect the two. New things are always improved. Improved things are always new. Old things need to be replaced. Keep buying. Yes, absolutely.
Sam, my vacuum tubes require evacuating.
Oh.
No,
Are they?
Not those. The ones in port. Yes, there. Thank you. And while you're at it, could you switch my binaries to that? Exactly.
Are they dating?
I haven't felt this clean and efficient since Captain Hawthorne installed my subalternate auxiliary backup processor.
Oh my. Goodness gracious. I'm gonna just save right now. Oh, golly gee. Y'all, this is really good. Um, uh, I I did really like that line from Coulson in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Pilot. Kiss says, lately I'm having the internal mantra for my life, anti-transactional in everything whenever possible. Yeah. Chaos Nix, that's really good. That's really good. I co-sign your mantra. That's really good. Yes. You know what? I really like that. I think I'm not a particularly transactional person, just generally speaking. I'm just writing this down I'm gonna put it on a. So here's the thing. I'm not a particularly transactional person. I don't particularly work that way, which sometimes screws me over, but I don't particularly care. But what I think is useful about what you're saying, Chaos Nick, is that it makes it intentional, right? Like, I'm not transactional by nature, but not being transactional is not the same thing as being like intentionally non-transactional. Do you know what I mean? And I just want to sort of like put that in the forefront of my mind because I think that's good.
Welcome back, Captain. Or shall I call you Inspector? What can I do
Yes.
for you?
And we do get so easily co-opted by our environments. Absolutely. Yes. Helen wishes for the halcyon days. We're going to get ourselves into space. We're going to get ourselves right to the next moment. I'm not the inspector anymore. I finished the Eridanos job.
During your absence, I passed the time by simulating a number of hypothetical conclusions to this case. Unfortunately, my understanding of the facts is limited, and my appraisal of the individuals involved is not flattering. Therefore, my conclusions are inaccurate.
Oh, all right, humor me. Who do you think killed Halcyon Helen?
My simulations have yielded several possible causes of death.
We're wrapping up.
Halcyon Helen may have been killed by one or all of the following: asphyxiating on Rizzo's Spectrum Brown, grappling with a primal while inebriated, killed by an overzealous fan, death by automechanical, or profound loneliness. How
Oh my.
close were my estimations?
Why don't I just tell you what happened?
Please, do so.
It's complicated, but let's just say Halcyon Helen is still alive.
That seems impossible. Can you elaborate for me?
Well, Halcyon Helen was played by twins. This is the part you need in all of your noir. Do you see where this is going?
Interesting. I did not account for the possibility of multiple identities in my simulations. This information is valuable to me. I will update my behavior simulation protocol accordingly. Thank you, Captain.
No problem.
How can I be of assistance? I'll be here.
We did that, everybody. That means we go right here, the navigation terminal. Gonna save one more time. I do want to tell you something before we end, because there's one more thing that they did that I was like, oh, come on. It's like symbolic of some of the things that frustrate me about the podcast. That said, I do want to say that I do think that you can get valuable things out of things, even if they sometimes frustrate you. And I have gotten many valuable things out of that podcast. Some of the things I'm like, oh, I don't like that. But it gives me ideas for different things. And it's also very interesting to see how they talk about stuff. And I'm learning a lot about their mindset. Like, I think it's quite valuable. Anyhow, the other thing I wanted to say was, this is symbolic of something they do that sort of like frustrates me a little bit. They will say something like, they'd like to do this thing where they're like, nobody needs to track encumbrance. Like, there's like no point tracking encumbrance, and it's so much better that we're in the current present day where we don't do that anymore. And any game that does have encumbrance is sort of like make a little bit of fun of. And I'm like, look, there are people who like to track encumbrance. And there are games where tracking encumbrance is important to the game itself, right? Like D&D back in the day, D&D 1E was all about tracking encumbrance. It was about resource management. And that was not because it wasn't evolved. And that's not because it wasn't a good game. It was because that was part of the conundrum, right? You can only carry so much stuff. And the more stuff you carry, the worse it's going to be for you when it comes to your combat. But also, you can't carry everything. So what do you carry? Well, your movement. You know what I mean? Like, what do you carry? Do you carry... And what are you going to do about food? Because you got to carry food. Are you going to dump the food to carry more gold? Because that might not be... Like, there were choices you had to make. And sometimes you had to let things go because you couldn't carry everything. And that was part of that game. In the same way that I think like a post-apocalyptic game that focuses on survival, encumbrance might be very important to that as well. And so might exhaustion, right? So I kind of think that the idea that there's no reason to ever have encumbrance anymore is not, especially detailed encumbrance, that's not a good take. I think many people don't like encumbrance, and so this is good. There are games where you don't have any encumbrance at all. There are people who like light encumbrance, but not too much of an encumbrance system, and it's good that there are games for that. But like, I just think that there's nothing inherently wrong with having a detailed encumbrance system. It just needs to match the kind of game, and it needs to find the players who like encumbrance. I just feel like framing encumbrance as something of the past that is outdated that we no longer need, I just don't think it's a good take. Just don't think it's a good take. Yeah. We got so much progress. Yeah. They're upset they just cannot loot everything. When people say stuff like that, all I hear is people should only play the way that I prefer to play. Yeah. And it was part of the war game paradigm. That's right, Lawndale26, absolutely. Trooper says, yeah, Trooper, sometimes you have to let things go because you're encumbered, which is why I actually like encumbered systems. I like when they're like, no, you just can't hoard all the things. Chaos Nick says, you were in the army, you said? Yep, absolutely. I've always thought it insane and horrifying reading about the load soldier expected to carry, like versus a modern light, ultra-light, hacking, backpacking mentality backpacker. Oh, I'm just used to it, I suppose. Like, we did not have ultralight stuff. Like, when I came out, so I'm here and I was going to go bikepacking, right? And I was like, oh, I should probably get like a tent. And I was like, oh, I have a tent. I was first going to go backpacking down there in Atlanta, and I have a tent. I have my army tent, the 2 shelter halves and all of that. And I was like, oh, dang it that I don't have that, because if I had that, I could just like carry that with me. And I was like, I suppose I have to buy a new tent. And I have to buy a new sleeping bag because I didn't have my army sleeping bag either. And then when I went to look, it turns out that civilian sleeping bags and civilian tents are much lighter than the heavy canvas tents that I currently have in my storage unit, and much lighter than the army sleeping bag that I have. And I was like, whoa, it was quite shocking to see how much lighter civilian gear is than military gear, because I had never used civilian gear. I only used military gear, even when I was doing civilian camping. And so it's like when I was a kid, I took tennis lessons from the local what do you call it, playground, and they gave us a free tennis racket, but it was wooden. And so I played with a wooden tennis racket for a very, very long time. And then maybe 10 years ago, somebody lended me their like titanium or whatever it is tennis racket. So I was like, whoa, what happened to it's just interesting how much weight we've shaved off of things is all I'm going to say. Yeah. Dragonbane says, Krellin's economy is completely broken without encumbrance. There's no special rules for selling things. Things have prices, and that's their price, whether you're buying it or selling it. And the bartering skill can get you even more money. Without encumbrance, players can bring back all the loot from the things they kill and just have way too much money too quickly. Yeah. Ask me how I know. Right, the game. You can't be a hoarder. Not today. Right, and I actually enjoy that. And some games, sure, I don't want that, but some games I do want it. Chaos Nick says, my light 3-season tent with rainfly is 4 pounds. Right, because I got one of those and I was like, what is that? And it's so small. I have an ultralight down sleeping quilt that's 5.5 pounds. I have a really small sleeping bag, but it's only a 3-season, and I think I need a winter sleeping bag for when it gets really cold if I'm going to go camping. So I should get a cold sleeping bag that is not my army sleeping bag. My army sleeping bag is really good for the cold, but it is not something you'd want. I don't think it would fit on a bike for bike packing without a lot of although maybe I don't need a different sleeping bag. Maybe I just need a liner, like a liner that would help. Maybe I'm gonna have to look into it. And now we have rucking as a thing. Oh, is rucking a new civilian thing? Because I only know rucking in terms of army terms, in terms of a rucksack. Tell me about it. Tell me about what rucking means in a 21st century civilian context. You became Goku after taking off the weights. He was user. Yes, I did. I chose the one character option that breaks encumbrance, a merchant with a cart. Nice. Oh, you've done bikepacking? Yeah, I just started bikepacking 2 years ago. And I've done bikepacking. I try to do it this summer. I try to do a bikepacking trip. So I've done it 2 summers in a row, and I couldn't do it last summer because I had work happened and took up its space for me, and then I couldn't go, and I was really sad. So by the way, this is us. And Tartarus is locked, which is interesting. This is, I think, our end game, right? I think this is our end. I don't think we have no quests anywhere at all except at Phineas's lab. That's basically our the last thing, and I think that's going to take us to end game. Let me see. Well, we do have make spacesuits won't travel, which is over on Byzantium, but I do believe if we go to Byzantium, they will try to kill us all the time, because I do not think they like us there, because our reputation with them is bad. So, like, in reputation, Ground Paper, they like us. The Iconoclasts, they like us. Monarch Solar Industries like us. Sublight likes us. The board, who runs Byzantium, does not like us. And we are a kill on sight, is what we are. So I do not think that I can go to Byzantium to fulfill that one last quest, because they don't really like us, is what I'm trying to say. Which means this is where we're going to stop the game, actually. Because the next thing we do is fly out, and that's going to give us end point. Let me save. Save? This is where we're stopping, right now. Save. Everybody, this is it. We are in this moment in the game where we're going to finish this game. It has been a while. We've played 88 sessions, which is a bit of time, but we're going to finish this game maybe even before the end of the semester. I don't know if that's true, but it might be. That's it. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, people took it from the army. I guess it's just people walking around intentionally carrying lots of weight. Oh, really? Weird. Why would you do that? Hey, Hawkeye. Done rolling dice. How did your game go? We're on our way out. I bikepacked in the past to Point Reyes from San Francisco. That was great. Oh, that sounds amazing. I'm really sad that I could not go bikepacking this last summer, because I was all set up for it, and I was really ready, and I have a new bike that I'm really excited to bikepack with, and I'm just a little sad that I couldn't do it. And I'm hoping I can, like, this summer, don't let school take up my time, because I want to make sure I get like a nice, good bikepacking trip. It's, Londell says, thank the lands I was Air Force and we didn't have to train everything on us all the time and march. But the duffel bag military grade was heavier than most of my gear. Oh, yeah, I still got all that stuff. Artie says, I mean, in D&D, I have no interest in tracking encumbrance except in the broadest terms, but I still don't think encumbrance as a concept should never be used. Now, I would say modern D&D is much different from first edition. Like, a lot of people who play modern D&D, they don't even really do dungeon crawls anymore, and resources aren't really a thing as much. And a lot of people who play D&D and run it just kind of just dump food and encumbrance completely. Like, they just kind of dump most of the resources, the resource management aspect from it. And I will say that this is actually, when people say that rangers are underpowered and rangers are like are sort of useless, that's because they've dumped some of those resource management requirements. Part of what the point of the ranger was to be able to get you food and to help you travel, right? And if you're basically going to dump some of the travel aspects and also the resource management aspects, then rangers are a little bit less useful than they used to be. But it's just a different game of D&D, is what I would say. What are you planning to play when you finish Outer Worlds? So I was given the gift of Rain World, and so that is the next game for the PS4 is Rain World, which was a present. And so I'm going to play Rain World. I don't know how long it will last. And then after that, after Rain World, what I'll probably do is see if I have a short game on the PS4 to do a little short game, and then we'll do something else. We've got a lot of options. I might also bust out my 360 and play some 360 games. We will see. We'll see. Let's see. For fitness. Yeah. We're going to finish the game. Went real well. We are now in beautiful downtown St. Pete, Russia. Oh, nice. What's the game, by the way? What's the game, Hawkeye? Up here, it's nice to take the ferry and bike around and bikepack the Gulf Islands. Oh, that sounds wonderful. I would like to bikepack more places. That seems just really fun. You've only ever, yeah, I've only ever seen or played 5e. Uh, you know, I see Artie Snack. I was just telling people this last time that I really am thinking about running something in AD&D 1E, but this is actually tied to a different project, which I can tell you about later when we get more advanced on that project. There's some, I'm working on some things behind the scenes for the spring. And if it works out, it's going to be very cool, is what I'm going to say. If it works out, it is going to be very, very cool, but there's some organization that has to happen, but we will get there. But I had this idea that I need some other people to be involved in, and I've spoken to some other people, and they're on board. We just have to do the last bits of organization, and then I feel like we're going to have a cool thing in the spring. And as a matter of fact, we need to talk about that again. I need to go, yeah. We need to talk about it again. Not us, but me and the collaborators for this thing we're going to do, and it's going to be very cool. It's going to be very, very cool, but I cannot talk about it, but AD&D 1E is perhaps maybe relevant. Let's see. Oh, Scion. That's right. Scion. Oh, that's right. Wonderful. Yes. Chromatic says, you're about to reach the point you need more GMs to take the load off you. We'll, watch this space. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Can't say any more at the moment because we've got a little bit of organizing to do, but there's some stuff. Also, I do note that I actually do think for me it's really important to GM something as well as play it, because I sometimes I'll play a thing and I'm like, I don't know, like I don't know if I like it, how I'm not getting a vibe of the game yet. So I need to GM it to see if that changes my experience of it. Anyhow, look, this is us. We're done. I'm gonna make some tuna casserole and do some work, but we're gonna raid. But let's see who is live that we have not raided in a while. Who can we raid to say hi to and do fun times? So here's the thing. We have not raided Max Ryder in a while. So let's raid Max Ryder. And thank you, Londo. Thank you for the hugs. But here's the raid command, by the way, in case you want to give some love. Let me tell you where you can find me and what's up next. Why did that not do anything? Maybe I need to have that not up. Let me try again. So glad to get some Saturday Foxhole time, right? It has been a while. So this is what I'm thinking, right? You can find me tomorrow. I don't have a stream tomorrow, so you won't find me on stream. Where did my raid go? Oh, it's just very slow. There you go. It's just very slow. I suppose that's fine. So I don't have a stream tomorrow night. I may or may not stream tomorrow night as a surprise. I can't say. Because here's the thing. There's a thing that I really want to do very badly that involves my stream anniversary is coming up. Right? My stream anniversary is coming up, and I really wanted to do something for my stream anniversary, but I have not coordinated it yet, which means if I want to do any kind of prep or things like that, I'm going to have to do it today and tomorrow so I can get invitations out to see if I can pull together some games and stuff. Because here's the thing. Next Sunday, I have no stream, which means I could do a stream anniversary stream on Sunday. The Sunday after that is... where's my calendar? Hold on. Calendar. Let me look more deliberately. So yeah, so next Sunday, I don't have any streams, so I could do my stream anniversary stream next Sunday. The Sunday after that is Road to Aurelia, my Call of Cthulhu campaign, and then also Carousel Court. So not next Sunday, but the Sunday after Carousel Court, Arc 3 starts up again, so I can't do my stream anniversary then. Saturday is Prax's Veterans Day charity stream, and I'm going to be playing in one of those games. So if I'm going to do a stream anniversary stream in November at all, it would have to be either Sunday the 5th if I can get everything together, or I will just have to cancel one of our Saturday streams and do it like November 18th or Saturday 25th. It's going to depend on how much work I can do getting stuff together, getting stuff ready, because and if I can get casting, it just depends on what I get done today and tomorrow. Because I really want to do another Streamiversary stream, and I want to do some very specific RPGs. And if I can do that, I'm going to feel really good about life. But we'll just see. So I might do a planning stream on Sunday, or I won't. We'll find out. We'll find out what happens. We'll just see. Let's see. Do you expect to have Dry Next Friday after Thanksgiving? Yes. We have no days off of Dry Next until we end the season, which is like mid-December. I think we're done like December 15th, I think. So we should have this show every day unless something crops up. We're going to get our full 12 episodes, which I'm very excited about. And probably there may or may not be a stream on Sunday. I cannot tell you tomorrow. But there will be Vampire the Masquerade on Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern over at Wandering Jams channel, which is going to be the last episode until we have a break. We're going to have a break in November. And then you can find me on Thursday for Disco Elysium. And then Friday for The Gamblers at Disco Elysium at 6 p.m. Eastern and The Gamblers at 7 p.m. Eastern. Both of those here on my channel. And I've got some other stuff I've got to do today. I've got to finish up my Patreon letter for you all to finish up the last season, the after action report for the last season. I've got to finish that up. I want to do that today. I want to do email because I've got like 8,000 email I have to get through, and I'm not exaggerating. It's actually probably up to 8,500 email right now. So I've got Patreon letters to do today, cooking to do today, and then class prep stuff to do today, some grading, and then also some working to see if I can, because I want to do a Streamiversary stream. I want to do it. I couldn't do it last November, but I'm going to do it this November. And I have ideas. So watch this space. That's me. Let's raid Max Rider, shall we? Because Max Rider is awesome. And we're going to give Max Rider some love. And that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to eat. And I'm going to, by the way, in case you want to know, I'm going to make tuna casserole. I'm going to make some granola for breakfast and tuna casserole for dinner. And then once I see where I'm at, because I'm kind of low on groceries, because I've been a little bit overworked. Once that's done, I'm going to get some groceries. I'll be set up. And then I'm going to unpack some boxes, maybe, do some work. This weekend is going to be really, really good. And finally, after over 2 weeks of not being able to ride my bike, I'm going to ride my bike tomorrow at the very least. I'm going to try to get a good, maybe 20-mile bike ride in tomorrow. And I don't know if I'm going to ride today. Probably will not because I've got so much to do. But I'm going to get a good 20-mile bike ride in tomorrow. And I'm behind on my Conqueror Challenge, my go and ride around Iceland virtually. So I need to catch up. But I'm feeling really good about where we're at. And I'm going to be able to play more music. And I'm really excited to share some stuff with you all. So let's go raid. And I will catch you all on the flip side, everybody. Until later. Bye. Raiding. We're going to raid. Raid. Raiding now. Raid. Bye.